Let's deal with some basics here tonight. We're asking the question of why is it that men lie to women and everyone else? Well, the answer to that is actually really rather simple. Number one, if you're a very good liar, the world will reward you for it, assuming that things turn out well. That means that if somehow you flip the situation to make your lie turn out good, or if you're able to just keep it going so long that no one is able to definitively prove that you were lying, then that's the first reason. So in other words, fake it till you make it. The world, unfortunately, has morphed into this place where you can fake it till you make it. Number two, women in particular love to be lied to. They love for a man to lie, and we're going to get into the reasons why for that in just a little bit. And then reason number three, it works. It'd be different if it didn't work, but it does. It actually does. And when something works, you're going to keep using it. And that's the bottom line. Now, of course, we can talk about character and principles and things like that, but to unprincipled people of low character, these are really moot points. Let's go back to that first one there. The world rewards you if you fake it till you make it. Unfortunately for us, we have a generation of young people who have been raised on the idea that everything is supposed to be easy, that everyone is supposed to have whatever they can get, and that they don't have to actually work for it. If you're a guy, come up with a hustle and a scam. If you're a girl, swing your butt cheeks. But what is supposed to take a person 20 years of becoming excellent at something, you're supposed to get that up front. Now, it's a bit of an issue here. Now, some folks are not going to like what I'm going to say next, but it's a bit of an issue. Females get to be more honest about this kind of thing than males are. As a group, women actually have to be a little more honest than men are. You see, basically, if she's going to be selling swinging butt cheeks or something, there's got to be something there for somebody to see. At some point, she's got to produce something. There's going to be some kind of evaluation or verification before she gets started. So she's actually got to do something to make that happen. If she's going to try to get more than she deserves, but she's actually got to do something. But what if you're a guy and you ain't got no butt cheeks to swing? Well, what do? Well, in your case, you've got to start perfecting the ability to lead people on. You have to perfect the ability to lead them on for days, weeks, years. You got to perfect the ability to talk in circles endlessly. You've got to perfect the ability to pander to your audience shamelessly. You've got to perfect the ability of misdirection and deflection. Although there is a peril in that, and the peril in it, the danger in it, is that eventually you stand the threat of losing yourself. If you ever knew who you were to begin with, you run the very real threat of losing yourself. The next reason that men lie, ladies, you love it when men lie. You love it when men lie because for you, that is a sign of dominance. Yeah, maybe he doesn't have the same money that these other folk do, but women consider a man being able to lie to be him outsmarting and outfoxing these people. Let me give you a clear-cut example. Let's just say, for example, you had bought airline tickets. No, let's just say, for example, that your girlfriend bought airline tickets, and in the process of buying those tickets, something went wrong and she was no longer able to take the trip that she wanted to take. So, you know how the airlines are, no refunds. Well, the truth of the matter is that's not true. Now, I gotta be careful. I'm not gonna say too much. What I am going to say is that there are a certain number of causes that will influence an airline to reschedule your flight without charging you a change fee. Now, they might not refund you. They don't do refunds. They don't like to do that. But if you give them the right reason, rationale, as it were, they can reschedule your flight without charging you for a change fee. The infamous punitive change fee. No, I'm not going to tell you all, because if I do, then you're going to make videos about it, and then the airlines are going to stop doing it. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to tell you there are ways. If you know somebody who works for an airline, if they work in customer service, they can probably tell you what it is. Now, it varies from one airline to another. It doesn't work across the board, but generally it works. In any case, let's just say you have the ability to do that. Let's just say that you know what one of the causes or one of the reasons might be. But let's just say your girlfriend or your lady doesn't actually qualify, but you know what to say when you get on the phone and you're able to get her out of that bind and get her out of that jam. Do you think she's going to be happy with you? Do you think that she cares that you got on the phone and maybe told a bold-faced lie that you knew what to say? Do you think that she cares about that? Do you think that she cares? Do you think that she is having some moral dilemma? Do you think that she sees you as being, now here's the part you got to catch. Do you think that she sees you as being unprincipled? Do you think that she sees you as being a less than honorable person? Do you think that she's making a note in her mental Rolodex that says, hey, this is a guy who's willing to resort to unscrupulous means to get what he wants? So for all of the females who get mad when you say that, fellas, remember these things I'm telling you right now. If you're able to do this, she sees that as a sign of power. She sees that as a sign of ingenuity. She sees that as a sign of mental quickness. That you have been able to psychologically dominate somebody else. See, you all have heard folks tell you, female love it when you lie, but those guys saying that don't really know what it means or how to explain it. I'm explaining it to you right now in very simple to understand language. I'm giving you a actual real world example that you can actually cite. If I'm telling the truth right now, give me a thumbs up in the chat room and hit the likes button. This is the only channel on YouTube and the only place on the internet where you can go where you have somebody who will give you demonstrable, practical examples that you can go into the real world and use and verify every word I say. And if anyone dares to try to challenge it, I got a phone number that you will be required to call on, because we don't fake it till we make it and then we make it bigger. But by the way, if I'm telling the truth, give me a thumbs up in the chat room and hit the damn likes button. And let folks know that this is where the real is. If I don't see some more likes here soon, though, I'll just assume you're upset tonight and it's Friday and we'll just wrap it up early. In the meantime, thank you very much to Veronica and everybody else who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. Big shout out to you, Ronnie. Appreciate it. They love it when you're able to lie, and if you can lie well. They love it if you're able to dominate other people mentally and emotionally. They see that as an asset. They see that as a good thing. So if whether it's you getting over on the airlines, whether it's you getting over at the clerks on Walmart, or whether it's you getting over on one of your homeboys, whether it's you doing any of those things, they see them as having equal value. Women will respect you and appreciate you under all those circumstances. It's true, fellas. Ladies, if you want to know why it is, it's because you all give plenty of examples and plenty of proof that if a man is able to accomplish something by lying, you will respect him and reward him for doing so. So don't be surprised or upset or mad when he looks at you and says, you know what? We can use a little dominance over here. And last but not least, because it works. It works. There's a whole bunch of fellas out here right now getting caked off. Derek Jackson has fallen, but let me tell y'all right now, on Instagram, on YouTube, but on Instagram in particular, there are about 3 or 4 other butt-smooching, lying scumbags who are sitting up here using Derek Jackson's formula already. They are already lined up. None of them are as buff as he was. None of them are as muscular as he was. But boy, they all sitting right there, looking like your broke-ass uncle on unemployment. They're all sitting right there trying it. They're all doing the butt-kissing routine. They are lined up saying, I'll be damned. If he got papered up like that, why can't I? Why can't I? Why can't I do it? And the reason for that is because these folks understand that that works. They understand that that works. And if it is something that works, they're going to continue doing that. They're going to continue doing that. So as men, we catch those clues. We catch those clues. So people want to sit up here and say they don't like it. Well, they don't like it if you use it against them. They don't like it if you use it against them. But then when it's used against somebody else, you get congratulated for it. You get congratulated for it. Now, that's something I want you to understand. As men, we catch those things. As men, we catch those things. So you're going to have a very hard time telling men to stop being dishonest, to stop lying, when literally you will line up and give them whatever they want to when they're telling bald-faced falsehoods. But it goes even deeper than that. It goes even deeper to the fact that in society today, you will have people who will openly speak against your best interests, and if they do so with enough conviction, enough fervor, you'll go along with it. You'll go along with it if they say it with enough conviction, enough fervor. Well, I want to show you here, and I'm going to start on this tonight, but I'm probably going to deal with this a little bit later as well. But I'm going to start on this tonight. There's a video here, and saw this on Instagram, and you can see what she's saying. Now, this woman, I think, is married. She's got a kid. She's with this dude. It's all over she's all over her Instagram. This video's gotten like 1 million views. You can see her. She's talking about, I'm on my way to get pregnant again, so my 5 years of not working can reset. So she's a stay-at-home mom, and her man is paying for her to stay at home and raise his kids. That's great. But then you take a look at the comments. And you take a look at this. For real, I'm a current stay-at-home mom. Previously a principal. That S is hard. But I somehow rather do this than work for someone else ever again. Glad she has some sense. But then the next woman here, this wonderful Irish lady, comes in here and says, not sure why you think staying home with kids is not working. It's harder. That's why I went back to a paid job. Then you go and take a look at her page. She's looking like the damn meat Joker. And she's telling the chick who broke out good what she doesn't need to be doing. People, if you think that going to work at a job is harder than raising children, is easier than raising children and being a stay-at-home mom, if you think that's true, please turn in your ovaries. Then you see a bunch of other females demonstrating. Fellas, if you see women who talk like this, do not fool with them at all. Don't give them the time of day. I can't even say they're for recreational purposes. Don't give them the time of day. Here's another one. That's more work than working. In other words, they've been mammified. You are working. Childcare is hard work and you're on duty 24/7. Here's her page. Here's her page. Her life is so lit. She's going around trolling on other pages, but by the way, here's her page. She's one of these puppy parents. Fellas, stay away from a chick who has pets, plants. If she got pets or plants, do not make any type of commitment to that female whatsoever. She's damaged. I said it. If a female has a pet, she's trying to fill the void where a man should be. A woman who's got men doesn't have pets around. It used to be that the only women who had pets were little old ladies whose husbands had died. Now you got young females because they are unfit and men don't want them because they're too run through, too emotionally imbalanced, too unsure of themselves, too incapable of being a proper mate. They got dogs, they got pets, they got plants. 2 or 3 bastard kids. So fellas, the verdict is in. If a chick has pets, forget about it. Forget about it. You ever had a chick who had pets, especially if they're indoors? Now, I'm from Louisiana. We keep them outdoors. They got pets indoors. There's dog hair all over the damn place. There's dog hair in their clothes. There's dog hair in their cars. And they're like smokers. They don't even recognize. They're completely oblivious to all the damn dog hair everywhere. They'll swear to you up and down that they vacuum and everything else. Meanwhile, in their washing machine and their clothes, there's dog hair all over the place. Just because they're screwed up and out of balance and oblivious to it doesn't mean that you gotta sit there and play stupid. But by the way, this is one of the chicks talking about, that's harder. It's harder raising kids. I'd rather be back in my job. Because she doesn't have a life. She's probably postmenopausal and telling everybody else what they don't need because she screwed up her chances. Just like this one. Getting pregnant to not have to work. So you got another chick up here hating because she doesn't have anybody to take care of her. Now this chick here is Arab. This one here is Arab. If you have any source of income, then it makes sense to stay home. But depending on anyone 100% financially is a very tricky game. No, ma'am, if you are a duplicitous individual that folks don't trust and men know that you're dirty and scandalous, they're not gonna trust you. So you've never been able to get a man to trust you. So yeah, you got to get out here and pull it out the mud. There's no man who is willing to risk himself for you because he can see you are simply too dishonorable. So yeah, for everything for you is tricky. There's nobody willing to sit up here and expend himself for you. Yes, the Arab females are in on it too. What do you all think that the Gulf War was about? The Gulf, they're still doing it to this day. The United States and the CIA are spending billions of dollars to advance feminism in the Middle East. They're trying to advance feminism in the Middle East to undermine the warrior class and the authority in the Middle East. So yeah, the United States is spending billions of dollars to start internal warfare. Everything's been going fine for thousands of years, but then they'll sit up here and grab 1 or 2 whack jobs that they're dreaming of getting a white man in America. They're dreaming of getting a white man in America. So yeah, they're very easily paid off. She doesn't want a Middle Eastern man. She wants one of them white dudes. So she talks one way, but in reality, she knows what she's trying to get. Take a look at this one. Hell no, I'll work 60 hours a week over sitting all day with some whining kids. Well, that sounds like wife material to me, doesn't it? Then you go to her page. Yeah, you living your best life. Princess Maya II. Not working. I have a job, and I feel like stay-at-home moms do way more work than I do. Mad respect. Oh, good. I would like to see how lit things are over here. Yeah. There you are. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is the chick trying to lecture people. This is the chick trying to lecture people. Trying to tell another woman what she's doing, what she's working too hard at. And she looking like, damn me, who's that? Fire Marshal Bill. Remember Jim Carrey from In Living Color? Let me say you something. And she's sitting among a bunch of other adults spewing her bilge and her nonsense as if she actually knows what the hell she's talking about. One chick here is talking about she'd rather be at home. Workout TY87. I was a stay-at-home mom for a year with my first daughter, now 6, and I hated it. I swear we went to Walmart every day. I love working and getting a break from now 3 kids and take the long way to pick them up from daycare after work. Self-care, LOL. Now, I don't see anybody who liked her comment. By the way, if you want to know what Miss Workout, thank you, 87, Team Beachbody, yeah, claims she's married. Okay, you got the burqa over here. I doubt it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. One chick here. I told my husband I don't care if they're going to school or not little anymore. I'm not working again. 105 likes. This dumbass here, I'm sorry, she got 5 likes. Miss Workout got 5 likes on her comment. 5 likes talking about I take the long way home from daycare. Why in the hell would a man trust you with his legacy? Candy Life. This the second time I saw something like this. I guess I'm the only one ready to get TF away from kids for 38 to 40 hours a week. 31 likes. 31 likes. 31 likes on her page. I don't know if she's actually married to Todd. I don't know who Todd is. Todd, if you're married to her, dude, you in all kinds of trouble. That's all I can say. You're in all kinds of trouble. She has declared war on your legacy, and you sitting right there for it. If you're a mom and a wife, it is work. To provide a clean, functioning home environment for your family is a full-time job to take pride in. Women want to be stay-at-home moms because it's a lot less work than going to a job. It's easy. Anybody can do it. That's why they want to be there and do that. And if you're smart enough to get a man to put you in that position, you win. But you got to understand, there's a bunch of chicks out here who they can't get it. They can't get it at all. And they're mad at everybody else. This is the point I'm trying to make. Do you all really believe for a damn second that if this puppy parent had the ability to get a man to take care of her, that she wouldn't jump on it with all 4 feet? Do you think that this aged out over the hill 50-something-year-old debutante who very clearly got left behind by the rest of white male society, do you think if she actually had a man making $1 million a year who would let her sit up, that she'd still be working? How many of you saw a happy woman at her job over the age of 35? How many of you saw a female at your job, she was over the age of 35 and she was happy? Let me get a show of hands in the chat room. How many of you have been at a job and the females over the age of 35, they were happy to be there? If you've seen that, give me the hand up emoji. If you haven't, give me the prohibited emoji, the circle with the line through it. If you know that's a lie, give me the circle with the line through it. But if you have seen it, give me the hand up emoji. Give me that one, if you've seen it. But if you haven't seen it, give me the prohibited emoji. Oh, boys, more red in here than the Moscow parade. Yeah, they are the meanest. Does this woman look happy? Does she look like somebody that you would want to be locked in an office with for 8 hours or 10 hours? Or does she look like she would be the most back-breaking heifer you ever met in your life? Take a look at her. Does she look like she would be a joy to work with? Does she look like she would be easy to work with? Or does she look like she would be the most nagging ass ex-wife you ever got handcuffed to at a cubicle? Baby, all that working you doing, yeah, because you got left behind. Because when you say stupid stuff, people are not going to extend themselves. So what I'm saying is she's lying. She's lying and she knows it. And anybody sitting here can see these women are just lying. They're upset because they don't qualify. So they're getting on here lying about it instead. And here's the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that you're in a society today, ladies, if you want to know why it is that men consider it to be so okay and so easy to lie, it's because the women have made it so okay and so easy to lie. You get rewarded for it. They're getting a ton of likes up here. Look at that. Hell no. I'll work 60 hours a week over sitting at home with some whining kids. 95 likes. 95. If you want to know why it is that men are on what they're on today and talking like they are today, take a look at that. From a chick who know her life is so damn lit, she has nothing on her Instagram. So you know she's lying, but she's miserable and she wants you to be miserable right along with her. Why would any man want to get some female who has that sour of an attitude toward children? Why would any man want to be with her, much less commit himself to being around her 24 hours a day? Or commit the rest of his life to her? Why on earth would you do that? You can see these women are lying to other women. She's got it made. She made it out the hood. She's got the bag. She has a producer who is making her life easier. And you got a bunch of other chicks out here. Do you all think that they are all happy getting up for their morning commute? I mean, take a look at how big. Do you know how big of a liar you got to be to say this right here? This is Derek Jackson magnitude lying. 60 hours a week. I bet she's a size 18 who can't do 20 hours a week, but she's telling everybody else, you should be willing to do 60 hours a week. 60. 60. How many ladies listening to me right now would like to sign up for 60 hours a week? Give me a thumbs up in the chat room if you're a lady who would love to sign up for 60 hours a week. That you're perfectly fine. You'd rather do 60 hours a week. I'm talking about with no kids. Just do 60 hours a week simply for the productivity of it. 60 hours a week. We in there. I don't think so. So what I'm telling you is, ladies, this is how females lie to each other. This is how they will sit in a group. They will see another woman who got it made. Ain't no, you go, sis. They're not, hey, you go, sis, you got it made. I'm glad your marriage is working out for you. I'm glad that you enjoying motherhood. They're not talking about that. They're saying, you need to be back at the office. You need to be working. Do you really believe that they would rather be at the office? How many females have you seen at the office putting in a full day's work? But they're telling you, you need to be at the office. If it was me, I'd rather be 60 hours at the office. Do you realize that if you're telling the truth, how much of a terrible life you have? But we know you're not telling the truth. So men see this is the point I'm making. Men see this. And once females make it clear that they prefer to be lied to, men latch onto that quickly. Case in point. Oh, I'm going there. Now, there are a group of dunderheads and idiots out there who apparently are of the numbskull opinion that this is something real. You went from Michael B. Jordan to some guy from, I don't even know what he does. I think he's an actor. I think he's been on Snowfall or something. But this is what you get. You went from Michael B. Jordan to this. I'm not dissing the young man. I'm not dissing him, Mr. Damson Idris. I'm not dissing him. What I am saying is that ladies, how many of you would consider this to be an upgrade? Last night you were in bed with Michael B. Jordan. This morning you woke up with Damson Idris. I don't know. Ladies, you tell me, would you consider that to be an upgrade? Would you consider that to be an upgrade? How many women here would consider that to be an upgrade? Think about this for just a moment. One of your girlfriends, they knew you were dating Michael B. Jordan. But your girlfriend had a magic wand. And you've been dating Michael B. Jordan for 6 months. And then one night, your girlfriend came over while you were in bed with Michael B. Jordan. She waved her magic wand. Ding! Michael disappears and Damson Idris is sitting there. Would you tell her thank you? Or would you say you hating ass heifer? Which one would you say? If she waved her magic wand, made Michael B. Jordan disappear, and here comes Damson Idris. And I'm not dissing the young man. I'm not dissing Damson. Do your thing. But I am making a qualitative analysis. This is the upgrade? Well, guess what? When they announced this, there were actually some females in the comment sections talking about Lori Harvey has gotten lucky twice in the same lifetime. She went from Michael B. Jordan to Damson Idris. Nobody was mentioning this dude's name before last week. Nobody was mentioning dude's name before last week. So what I'm saying is when you start losing, there's a bunch of folks out there who will lie their asses off to sit up here and help you indulge it. Well, guess what? Men see this. Men see this. Men see when you like being lied to. They see the environment. They see when the world rewards dishonesty. They see when the world rewards slick talking and jive talking. The world sees that. They see when your girlfriends and your family members sit up here and egg it on and defend it. Men see this. Men see this. And then they make decisions. By the way, heck of a name there. Damn, son. We'll see if it comes up later. But by the way, is there anybody who thinks that he's sizing her up to be a wife? She's in her mid-20s. Time is almost up for her. Who is weighing her or considering her for wifehood? I'm asking you a question. Is he sizing her up and evaluating her for wifehood? Or is he saying, hey, it's my turn? Thank you very much for breaking up with Michael. It's my turn. My turn. And then as soon as he's through having his fun on the ride, go ahead and drop her off on the curbside for pickup. Which brings me to my fourth reason. Folks, the fourth reason that men lie is to punish you. Let me put this in the context of women first and the world second. Well, let me put it in context of the world first and women second. When a man feels like he hasn't gotten his due, when a man feels like the world's been getting over on him, the quickest way to get even is to start trying to lie to the world. That's the quickest, down, and dirtiest method to use. If he's a really good liar, he might be able to take some winnings off the table. Who knows? Who knows? But when a man wants to punish the world, the first thing he does is start lying. He feels like the world has gotten over on him. He feels like the world has abused him. He feels like the world has deceived him. He is now going to deceive the world. Now he's going to deceive the rest of the world. That's the way that works. But also, if you are a female, men lie to punish you. Men know that our time, we've got a longer runway in life of viability than women do. Women's viability runway is roughly 15 years. Men's viability runway is about 40. So if a man deliberately, consciously robs you of time, see, there's a reason why we created alimony. Alimony was originally created because fathers understood if they gave their daughter to a man, if this dude ain't about nothing or if he doesn't work out, he's stolen the most important commodity of all from your daughter, her time, her years. So if a man wants to punish a woman, he starts running the clock out on your time. He starts wasting it. That's the whole reason why, fellas out here, you must be one of the dumbest females on earth if you sit up here and let a dude get you pregnant and you're not married. You got to be the dumbest broad. Because that guy has just handcuffed you to him. He just handcuffed you to him. You're going to be sitting out here scrounging, praying and hoping you can find something that will accept you, but you're not going to find anybody who's really going to stretch themselves out for you. This guy handcuffed you to him, knowing that at this point, he doesn't have to do anything else for you. He has already attached himself to you for life. You can't get away from this. You can't get away from this. And he knows that what he has done is going to guarantee that the best, most eligible men are going to sit up here and swerve around you. Let me think this over. I'm good. But I'm going to tell you something else. The reason why so many females are running around out here with all these bastard kids and whatnot is because these men don't like you. They don't really like you. But they want to keep you around for whatever reason, but in reality, they really don't like you. So they want to do something of a permanent nature. When a woman wants to do something of a permanent nature to men, what does she do? She starts lying. Well, guess what? When a man wants to do something of a permanent nature to you, men tell different lies, usually ones that take years. If a man can do something that gets you tied up for 10, 12, 15 years. Do you realize he just obliterated your prime years? April Jones can forget about it. All she can do is sit up here and try to date somebody and show up on Instagram, baby. You can forget about it. You can forget about it. That's it. Omarion and the rest of B2K got that. That's it. You're done. You're done. You can like it or dislike it, but you're done. They're not liking the program here tonight, so I'm going to wrap up here in a few minutes. It's okay. Folks sit up here and they watch these events unfold and then can't figure out why it is that they can't stop it from happening. They sit up here and watch these events unfold. Derek Jackson never should have been able to get the traction that he did. Derek Jackson never should have been able to get the traction that he got. He never should have gotten as far as he did. Steve Harvey should never have gotten as far as he did. But there is a contingent in the psyche of the population that likes that. Men witness that. And then it becomes very, very tempting to follow up on it. And to say, well, you know what? If it worked for him. Do you all realize how many males out there are failures? Complete and utter and total failures. They don't have anything. They haven't accomplished anything. They have no prospects for anything. And they will literally say whatever so they can get over, so they can get by. They don't have a backup plan of any kind, type, or proportion. So they will literally say anything. Have you all ever met that guy who will literally say anything? Like you really don't believe, you can't believe anything that comes out of his mouth because you're like, this guy will say anything. The truth of the matter is that the majority of males out here are not successful. And let me explain what I mean by that. I don't mean that they're not successful at becoming a millionaire. I mean that they are not successful at anything. Everything they do is subpar, mediocre, average or below average. But they are not successes at anything. How many of you know those kind of men? All of you do. All of you do. Most males are not successful. Most males are not succeeding. Most males are not excelling. I was the guy who taught you all the reason why women don't like, quote unquote, the average guy is when you take a look at the average guy, average means struggling. And the truth of the matter is that most males are unsuccessful, unaccomplished, no vision, and no clue how to get out of it. They have no idea how to make it to the next level. None. None. I'm going to see if we can get to 1,300 likes. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'll give it a couple of minutes. If we don't, we'll go ahead and shut things down for the night. Because I understand I have a majority male audience, and a lot of you were raised, a lot of you have been spending the last couple of years since the pandemic sitting up here, snuggling up to the winosphere, the so-called manosphere. Those guys have no answers. All they do is sit around telling you the women need to lower their standards and give you more of a chance. I'm not that guy. They don't need to give you more of a chance of anything. They don't need to give you more of a chance of anything. If you're interested in dating, I'm not the place for you. The whole reason that you're talking about this red pill dating and pickup artistry and Rolla Tomasi and all this old crap is because you don't have a power dynamic. You don't understand what power is. You have no idea how to use it or how to utilize it and how to get the results you're looking for. So you'd rather sit around and listen to somebody else say, well, the reason you ain't getting the results is all these females is messed up. But where in your life are you exercising any type of power or influence? Where are you doing that? Where's that happen? These would be hard pills to swallow because you think that this is a situation where we need to sit up here and run our damn mouths. Let me tell you something. Beware of a male who sits around telling you that he's going to fix your problems by talking your damn ear off. If he's not telling you the specific actions you need to take, there's a problem. The majority of males are not successful. What they do is they listen to another unsuccessful male who is able to gather an audience, and at least he is the leader among the pygmies. Pygmies as in Aborigines, not pick me. And that's how you end up with the situation you have right now. Stumbling and bumbling and stuttering and stammering, walking around, meandering in circles, wandering aimlessly. Most of the males listening to me right now are liars. I'm not going to ask the women to bear me witness. To the fellas listening to me right now, you know I'm telling the damn truth. Most guys today are liars. Most of them are lying. They will say anything to get some sex. They will say anything to get some money. They will say anything to get a raise, to get a car, shaved off interest points. They'll say anything. Anything. It's not like dealing with grown men. It's like dealing with big ass children. It's like dealing with big ass children. These folks understand. But you understand that that's what they do. We are dealing with a generation of liars. You're dealing with a generation of liars. And that's an important point to keep in mind. That's an important point to keep in mind. As a man, the reason why you don't have a ton of competent males out here is because they are lying too. They're lying also. They're used to that. They're used to that. So they expect that all of us are going to traffic in that too. But the truth of the matter is the reason why you can't collaborate, you can't build a business, you can't do any of that is because most of these guys are trying to fake it till they make it. I wish I could say they're trying to fake it till they make it, but they're just trying to fake it, period. They ain't trying to make it anywhere. They're not trying to make it anywhere. They don't have a plan. They don't have a vision. They don't have anything. They don't have anything. So when you have that kind of situation where you're living amongst a group of people and individuals here who look, their entire life is about faking. Their whole life is about faking. Then no wonder. This is how you come back 20 damn years later. They're exactly where you left them. They're exactly where you left them. That means something. When you have folks who their whole lives are going to be spent trying to make their way through things and trying to fake their way through it. That's why I told you all, do not deal with faking it until you make it, because they never make it. That's the point. They never make it. But there are a whole bunch of folks who will sit here and let you sell them on a good ass rap. Do you realize how many females have run up a body count running into liar after liar, and then what they'll do is they'll go on the internet. These men's out here, they just be lying to everybody's. These men's just be lying to everyone's. That's something to keep in mind. However, I'm going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines here. We're going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines for you all. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Shout out to Robert Lamel, sweetheart, and a big shout out to Robert Lamel again here. Thank you very much for contributing to tonight's program on Super Chat. Thank you very much for that. We're talking tonight about why it is that men lie is what I'm talking about. And in light of recent events, I think this is an apropos thing to discuss here because as men, we need to talk about that also. The fact that when you have men around you who have no scruples, you have men around you who have no vision, if they're willing to lie to everybody else, they're going to lie to you too. And I guess the reason why that is such a thing is because they're not building anything. I guess the reason why that's such a big thing there is because they're not building anything. So for them to go ahead and do that, that doesn't really bother them that much. Especially if you're living around a bunch of guys who are doing the same damn thing. That's going to be something that nobody's judging each other on that. You're supposed to have a group of men around you who you can trust. You need to have a group of men around you that you can trust. If you don't have that, that's a problem. That's a problem. When you have that kind of situation around you, and as men, there's a reason why I've taught you all, when you go to prison, when you go to the military, as a man, you are held accountable. You don't get to just sit up there and just say anything to anybody. You get caught lying, there are going to be consequences. That's what happens in a proper situation. There are consequences for that. And you've noticed that in the situations where there's consequences for that, you don't see so much of that happening. You don't see so much of that happening. However, let me go ahead and throw up the telephone number for you. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to rage watch. Shout out to everybody here. Shout out to my mods tonight, including my drunk mod, Eve. She's been getting into Hennessy tonight, so she's kind of floating sideways. So if anybody's got a crack pipe or some heroin, you can drop it off at her house. She's feeling a little bit. But thank you very much for showing up here tonight. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. You are definitely invited to give us a call. And if you've been instructed by my mods to call up, you definitely need to do that as well. That is not a request. That is an order. If you've been instructed to call up, you must call in. Anyway, I got a few people on the line here, so let me go ahead and get that here. Let me get caller from area code 267. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Timmy calling from Williamsport, PA. How are you?
All right, Timmy, what's on your mind?
Broadcast. Yes, great broadcast. Definitely, I agree with a lot of things you said. I'm very shocked how so many females would try to intentionally bring down other females, and I see it every day. And I feel like with females, because they have so much emotion, when they see another female doing well, they intentionally give them wrong information or try to tear them down. And I'm glad that you do things like this. It definitely we need a more bigger. You need a more bigger platform or more people to actually give this information, because there's so many females that will benefit from listening to you. So I just wanted to thank you, and I appreciate it. And you have a good night.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 443. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Put the crack pipe down. Caller from 443. Put the pipe down.
Oh, my apologies. Oh, I didn't hear it. My bad. All right, my name is Corey Joyner. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Of course. What's on your mind, Corey from Baltimore?
What's on my mind is I want to give you your credit, Jason, for putting us, the men and the women, in place and in direction, to make sure we can continue to produce and, be on a positive light. I know you discuss all the negatives, and that's good, because we always got to bring that to light. So that's all I had on my mind. Is there any other questions you have to ask me?
Nigga, if you don't go to bed talking stupid on my phone, I don't have any questions to ask you. You called me. Yeah, do I have a question to ask you? Yes. At what point did you and your mom stop dating? Caller from area code 734. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Trey from Detroit, Michigan. I was calling to say, yeah, you definitely hit it right on the money. I was listening. I was like, damn, he talked about me, not exactly with the not building, but definitely lying to these women because I can get away with it. You know what I mean? I was just messing with this one woman. I didn't realize she was a single mom until after we had sex. Kept having sex with her for a little bit longer, and she started catching feelings, falling real fast, and it was just so easy to tell her what she wanted to hear. I really felt bad about it, and I was the one that cut it off. But it was really surprising how far she was willing to go with allowing me to waste her time. But yeah.
Well, why do you feel it was wasting her time?
Well, because I wasn't trying to be in a relationship with her. I was definitely just trying to focus. The second I found out she had kids, I was like, oh, definitely not staying with her. But she was on the freak shit, like straight. That's the only reason. And I kind of was honest a little bit later.
But then
she kept trying to.
I was honest a little bit later. Interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Mainly because I felt bad.
I was honest a little bit later.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. If she was not a single mother, I mean, I probably would have stayed with her. That's literally the only reason.
How old was she?
She was 28. Okay. I was 23. She looked younger too.
Slow down. How many kids did she have?
She had 2.
Okay. Well, she was getting in where she fit in.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it is what it is. She got in where she fit in. So I don't think you were wasting her time necessarily, because if she had better options, she wouldn't have been talking to you.
Yeah, true. But yeah, thanks for everything you're saying, Jason.
Don't feel guilty now. He's out here feeling guilty with one. Dude, she's 28 years old with 2 kids. I mean, it's not, you're not ruining her life. She took care of that on her own. Caller from area code 717. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name's April. I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Okay, slow down. What was that name again?
My name's April.
Hello, April. And you're calling from where?
Pennsylvania.
All right, April, from where at in Pennsylvania?
I'm calling from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, from the capital.
April from Harrisburg, what's on your mind?
I just came into your show, like literally out of nowhere. I don't know how you came on my stream, but I just wanted to say your show was really interesting, and I'm learning a lot. And I just wanted to thank you for what you're doing. I know that's not why I was supposed to call, but I did just kind of want to thank you for this broadcast. It's really been an eye opener. So
And
keep
how
doing
was,
what you're doing. And thank
well,
you.
just out of curiosity, how was it open your eyes?
Just kind of getting a male perspective on the behaviors of a lot of females, some of my past behaviors, just it's just an eye opener to kind of see what guys really think and how they really feel, and what what you guys are really thinking, and it makes absolute sense. I mean, a lot of it is factual with regards to dating, in the marketplace and kind of, knowing where you are, knowing what's available to you.
Let me find out here, April. How old are you?
I am 36.
Okay. Do you have any children?
I do. I have 2 daughters.
Okay. Have you ever been married?
Yes, I have my daughters from my ex-husband. I'm divorced at the moment.
Divorced at the moment? You're going to be undivorced?
Well, I'm divorced. I mean, that's right now. Well, I mean, if I get married again, I'd be married, right? But that's not something that I have, a sight on at the moment right now.
Well, your divorce status is tied to him. So unless you can get him to propose again, your divorce is going to stay that way. You might marry somebody else, but then interesting. Let me find out here. Why did you get?
And I agree. I definitely agree with that. So
why did you get divorced?
I am one of those. I got divorced because I wasn't a good wife.
Really?
I didn't know how. Yeah, I didn't know how to be a wife. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't see that in the house. So I made a lot of mistakes, and I own that. And I don't plan on getting remarried. It's not something that I have an eye on. I'm not courting. I'm not dating. I'm really just focusing on raising the girls and doing my best. I have no sight for marriage. I don't even look at it as a possibility because I already ruined that. And I do believe until death do us part, right? So even
Clearly
if he
not.
moves on, as long as his heart is beating in his chest. I mean, well, he got his divorce without me. I didn't sign any paperwork. I didn't do any of that. He wanted the divorce. I didn't. I just didn't know what to do at the time, and it was just too late.
You're saying that he filed for divorce.
He did. He filed for divorce, and I didn't sign any paperwork because I don't believe in divorce. I didn't get married to get divorced, and he knew that. We both knew that. But it took him a while to get his divorce because I wouldn't be bothered with it. I wouldn't sign. I wouldn't go to court. I wouldn't entertain the matter. I just let him. If you want to go, just go and do what you want.
How long have you been divorced?
I've been divorced since 2018, but we've been separated since about 2016. We got married in 2010.
And what did he cite as the reason for filing for divorce? Be honest.
I mean,
Be honest.
I mean, the paperwork in the court would say one thing right now. I know, like I said, I wasn't a good person. I wasn't good to him. I wasn't kind. I wasn't loving.
What did he cite as the reason?
I think it's irreconcilable differences.
Okay, usually they have to give an example.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not in our state.
Did he ever?
And then it was uncontested.
Okay.
So I didn't fight, right?
Semi uncontested. Did you were you accused at any time of cheating?
I'm sorry, was I accused of what?
Were you accused at any time of cheating on him?
No, I was doing the accusing him, being that typical nagging person. But no, I stayed at home. You were accusing him of
cheating on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that accurate?
It was.
Okay. Why do you think it was?
Well, he told me. after a while, he just came out and he was honest, and he said, I did these things, and at that time, I said, I wanted to make it work. I said, you kind of leave that. If you want to leave that life alone, leave those chicks alone, focus on us and the girls. And he just didn't want to do that. I think things had gotten so far, and I was already so naggy. And I mean, I'm not taking all the blame. It takes two, right? But I do understand my role in the breaking up of the family, and I'm not going to act as if I'm some queen that, I'm just right all the time, and I understand that. But hindsight is 20/20, and looking back, I see the mistakes that I've made.
How old is he? I mean, what's the age difference between the two of you?
We are the same age. He's about 6 months older than me.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you all were together for a while. You all were together for a while, but I think that's a good point to keep in mind there. There's men lie to punish you, is what I was saying there before. So definitely, sometimes it'd be better for him to whoop your ass than to sit up here and throw other women in your bed. Just ask Derek Jackson's wife. Because like I say, I mean, once that gets started, that's real serious, especially if he's just like, by the way, I've been laying up with other chicks, pass the cornbread. All right. Dinner's been ruined.
You're right. Absolutely right.
But that means he was sitting on that for a while.
He was, and the relationship wasn't one that started off where, he got on one knee and he wanted to be with me. And I think it was just out of a convenience thing, I needed somewhere to live. I had demands. You can't live in my house without marrying me. And it was kind of that type of situation. I don't think he really wanted to be with me or wanted to be married. It was just kind of somewhere to kind of, have somewhere to be, nowadays. And I'm not going to say all guys, but you find this generation of man that just kind of hops around and goes from place to place, and unfortunately,
what does he do for a living?
He's in social human services type work, without being too revealing of my private business. He's in the social services.
Okay. About how much does he make a year?
When we were together, he worked 2 jobs, and according to the court, he made about $70,000. Now, he doesn't make that much. I think he's making somewhere around 40, 50. Not 30, maybe 40, 50, because he makes more than I do. So.
Okay. So you're saying that your husband, you said y'all were together for a decade?
We got married in 2010. We got divorced in 2018.
Okay, so 8 years, but you knew him longer than that. So y'all together for a decade and married for most of that time. And you're saying that he makes about $45,000 a year.
Now, when we were married, he worked 2 jobs because I'd stayed home with the girls, and he made a little bit more, somewhere around 69,000 when we first got divorced.
So he could make $70,000
when we first separated.
He can make $70,000.
Yeah, he's educated.
He can.
Yeah, he's college educated.
He can make $70,000 if he works 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. April.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
How comfortable of a life did you think you were going to have with a guy who makes $35,000 a year?
About the life that we had, he worked 2 jobs to let me stay home with the girls. I was comfortable with that. We saved, we penny pinched, but being at home with the kids was more important to me. I figured after the girls got older and went to school, I could take on a job and we would make more. So it just didn't last as long as I thought it would. I think had we stayed together a little longer and was able to build some financial stability with two individuals working, even one part-time, one full-time, I think we would have gotten to a point where we would have been comfortable. When he left, I bought a house. I was able to take the savings and buy a house, and the girls and I live here now. And,
slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah,
slow down.
Sorry.
When I divorced him, I was able to, quote, take the savings and buy a house.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You said you were making about the same that he makes, correct?
Correct. So when he left...
Slow down.
Sorry.
So I'm just curious, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, how much house are we able to buy on $40,000 a year?
Well, at the time, again, he was making 70. So I had a savings prior to meeting him, and I was able to acquire some savings when he left. When we separated, we weren't fully divorced when I got the house,
Okay.
but we were separated.
Let me. Are you serious here? They have issues over there on Blog Talk, I guess. Have no idea why that keeps happening, by the way. Only for me. So, Department of Homeland Security just let me know that they are enjoying the program too. So, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you listening in and letting us know you're watching here tonight. How much house can you buy on $40,000 a year? How much house are you able to buy on that? I'm just real curious. How much house could you possibly get on $40,000 a year? Because I'm trying to do the numbers in my head, and I'm like, okay, that's not going to be a whole lot of house in Pennsylvania. I don't think that's going to be a whole lot of house. So, now I could be wrong. She might be just this incredible person with her finances, but for some strange reason, I just find that to be a very heavy lift. I got divorced, and we were kind of on the way to getting divorced. So unless somebody gave you the house, I just think that's going to be, that's going to be really kind of tough to be able to pull that off on $40,000 a year. I'm just trying to figure out how that works. Anyway, let me go ahead here and check the phone lines here again. Are you still on the line?
Hello?
Okay, April. I want to clarify what you were saying there. Are you saying that you bought the house before you got divorced?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was this a house that both of you went in on? Okay, that's a simple question.
I would say yes.
Is this a house? But did he sign on the deed to buy the house?
Closed.
Both of you. Okay, both of you on the mortgage. It's very simple. Okay, this is a mortgage. You also
yes,
when
sir.
you got divorced,
But he never moved in.
You're saying that when you got divorced, he let you have the house.
When we closed on the house, he knew that a lot of it was a lot of my savings money.
Ma'am.
So he never moved in.
Okay,
yes,
April.
Sir?
Okay, I can see why he divorced. April, this is a very simple question.
I'm sorry.
So you're saying that when you got divorced, he let you have the house? I mean, you're trying to figure out some way to you're trying to figure out some. Okay, we're not going to talk over Jason. We're not going to do that. You're trying to make this complicated because you're trying to pat yourself on the back, and we don't give out trophies for participation here, and this isn't the place for ego bloating. It's just a very simple thing. It's not that complex. You got married.
Yeah.
Before you got divorced, you both bought a house. When you got divorced, he let you have the house.
Yes.
Okay, because he had legal rights and he could have fought you over it, but he didn't do that. So you're trying to find some way to make this really some big prestigious thing. It's not. You got divorced, he let you have the house. He went and got another one. So you were saying before, when I got divorced, I bought a house. So that's why I'm backing up.
Yeah, and I corrected myself.
You didn't. No, I corrected you. Okay, let's not do that one. You're the one who said that, and then I said that doesn't sound quite right because you said you only made $40,000 a year. So you explained that you bought a house, and then I said, but didn't you say you only made $40,000 a year? So I'm like, how much house did you buy on $40,000 a year? Then you said, oh well, me and him and us and we. There you go. So he made it possible for you.
Well, I didn't have any income. He made all of the money.
Okay.
So at that time, he was making the $70,000 that we've discussed. I said, now that we're divorced, he makes roughly $40,000 to $50,000.
Okay.
I had no income during the marriage, so
at the time that the house was purchased, were you working?
No.
Okay. At what point did you begin making the payments on the mortgage?
When he left me, he signed the papers, and he left me with the mortgage. We had an understanding that I was going to be responsible for the mortgage. He never moved in. He knew that I took most of the savings, again, not to pat myself on the back, but this is just what happened. Most of the savings that I came into the marriage with, I took with me and purchased the home because I wasn't working. We used his name as he was the one that had an income.
Okay. Most of the savings that I had when I came into the marriage, how much savings did you have in the marriage after when you came into marriage at 8 years, you weren't working?
Sure. So when I came into the marriage, I had about $13,000 in a savings account. So I came into the marriage with that.
Okay, so you came into the
and
marriage
I managed to not tap into it. Yeah, we didn't have to tap into it
you
much.
came into the marriage with $13,000, and after 8 years, you never touched the $13,000.
Like I said, we didn't have to tap into it much. He stayed employed, so we basically lived off of that. And I managed to set aside some money, $25 a pay, roughly $50 a month. I would put aside during the marriage, and both of those funds were kept totally separate.
Right.
So by the time, over the course.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
That's a lot of talking. The point is, you had a separate savings account, is what you're saying. Did he have access to that savings account?
He did. Yeah, he did.
No.
He did.
I'm saying that he had the ability to withdraw money from that savings account without your permission.
He did. He had a debit card, a checkbook, and he didn't. I mean, the way we lived, we didn't really have to. A lot of it, I cooked and packed lunches, and I did those type of things. So he didn't, if he needed money, he would take a little 20 here and there, but he wouldn't have to touch the savings because we never really were in a position that we needed.
Okay.
The lights are getting cut off, or
my thing about it here is, if you're saying you all have separate accounts, you came into the marriage with that account.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying I came into the marriage with that account, but I gave him access to the account. You're saying that you gave him a debit card. You made him an authorized user. Yeah,
our names were on everything. Yep, both of our names were on everything. Every bank account he had, I had. We both went to each other's banks. We put our names on everything. We had our names. We just had so many different bank accounts.
Okay.
I don't know if
let me find out. Let me find out something here. When it was time to file for divorce, how much did he have in savings?
In his savings, he had about $4,000.
Yeah, there you
Now
go.
this is his personal savings. This is not our joint savings, right? So we also had a joint savings.
Well, we got that part, but we're talking about for his personal savings, money that has
he
not
had
been
about four grand.
Money that has not been commingled. Because you see, you have a right to your savings before you came into the marriage. You also have rights to any joint accounts. But if he came into the marriage with a separate account, you probably may not have rights to that one. And you're telling me that in your savings account was $13,000, but in his savings account was $4,000.
So when I came into the marriage, we put our names on everything. I had 13 in mind.
Yes or no?
He added his name onto that account.
Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself.
Sure.
You hear me just fine. These are yes or no questions. You're saying that when you came into the marriage, if you'll pay attention, you're trying to get ready to talk instead of listening. I see the issues. You said when you came into the marriage, you had $13,000 in your savings. Now you're saying that he only had $4,000 in his personal savings. So any person listening to that would automatically see problem, especially after 8 years of marriage. That's going to set off every alarm bell known to man for anybody who's actually paying attention and counting. Her money is still good money. He, on the other hand, is running on E. You were not even working, and yet the money that you had a right to really wasn't getting touched. However,
neither was his $4,000.
Okay, well, you say that, but the problem is, I can't believe that this man only needed $4,000, especially if he's getting ready to get divorced.
Well, when he came into the marriage, that's what he had, right? So that wasn't touched because we didn't need to. Again, we didn't live a life.
Okay,
where
but did he
we
have
had to touch
kids?
these things.
Did he have kids when he came into the marriage?
No, neither one of us
Okay,
did.
thank you. Neither one of you had kids, but one of you had 13,000 and was able to feed and clothe themselves and didn't have to work. The other one's working 2 jobs. So what I'm saying is, I can understand this was a financial burden on him. With all that being equal, it's going to make he's not going to have a whole lot of tolerance for not being pleased when he's carrying the majority of the freight. He's going to have a very low tolerance for that under those circumstances.
Of course.
So, because financially speaking,
and again, hindsight is 20/20.
Well,
yeah.
Financially speaking, that's not a great thing. Here's a real metric you can judge things by. For example, after 8 years, were you all still living in the same place you were when you got married?
Yeah, we were.
Right. So after 8 years, he was still staying in the same place. Was he still driving the same car?
No, we had gotten new vehicles.
Define new vehicles.
I was able to purchase a van for the girls and I, and he was able to purchase a little sedan or, a nice car that he picked out for himself to get to work.
What kind?
I'm sorry?
What kind? What make and model?
Well, sure. I mean, at the time, it was, what's the year? Was it 2014? 2012, he purchased a 2012 Toyota Camry or something, or Toyota Hyundai Elantra of the year, whatever year that year was. He got a brand new vehicle.
Okay. So
2 years after we got married, roughly, yeah.
He's working 2 jobs. He's paying for the rent. He's paying for 2 cars. He's paying for 2.
Well, one car. The one car was paid in full. It was a used vehicle. So the girls and I got a little, we weren't going anywhere.
All right, but who paid for that car? Really?
I mean, I would say that would have been a time I probably touched the savings in the beginning and maybe use some of my money that we had because I wanted a car, right? I didn't need one, is what he was telling me. You're not working, you don't need a car. He'll drive his. At the time, he had like a little. We have like an Infinity of something, and you don't need a car.
That doesn't sound right. Because then you'd be way down below 13,000. You'd be way down below that. So
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
You'd be way below 13,000 in those circumstances.
Again, I took money out. I was able to put money back. It was just. How much did that car cost?
Oh
my gosh, that van. I must have paid like $3,500 for a van. I knew a guy who sold cars.
Okay, all right.
From my prior life.
And she's kind of chatty. $3,500. You came into the marriage with $13,000, so that left you $9,500 left over. You didn't have a job and you didn't work, so $50 every month or so that's going to be a long haul to replace $3,500.
Sure, of course. And again, the lifestyle we lived, we didn't eat out. I would shop at the thrift store for the girls. I would make their clothes. We didn't really spend a lot, right? All of
was he black?
Went to bills. We didn't take vacations.
Let me find out here. Was he black?
No.
Okay. Are you?
Yes.
Okay. So you're black, but he wasn't.
He was Spanish. He is Spanish. He's still alive.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm glad you clarified that. He is Spanish as opposed to formerly Spanish. That could be kind of rough. And so you all were dipping together and everything was fine and everything was okay. But eventually it sounds like things might have been, some kind of way about that. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does. A lot of things are stressors. Yeah, a lot of things are stressors. New children, being pregnant back to back. I, at the time, had postpartum depression, and it was a lot. young kids getting married, trying to do grown up things. We had no idea what we were doing.
Okay. Did your parents say anything about him?
Well, his mom was deceased. His dad had him older in life, so his father was a lot older. My mom is deceased. My dad passed away after my first daughter was born. I didn't know my father, which has a lot to do with probably my behavior. But I didn't really know my parents, and his parents weren't as involved.
Well, definitely, I can certainly understand that. But you weren't a young kid either when you got with him either. So that
correct.
You can imagine
But hindsight is 20/20.
Well, there are a couple of alarm bells that are going off for me though. There really, really are. If I can say in all candor, there are a couple of alarm bells going off for me here because I don't know how many boyfriends did you have before you got with this man?
Prior to him, I've never lived with anyone, so I dated. If you're asking like a body count, before him, maybe 12. Since him, there's been no one.
That is a healthy body count. For being in your mid-20s. That's a rather robust body count to just be in your mid-20s.
Well, times were different back then, right? With social media wasn't as prevalent, there was no Instagram.
You're correct. Times were different. It was a lot worse back then to be letting that go on. So I'm just saying, so from the end of high school to the time you apparently got with him.
Yeah, I lost my virginity at 17.
Okay.
I still think my body count is high.
And then she said, let it rip. So, and look, we're not judging you over that. I mean, I'm just saying this. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that. Here's my only thing about this. You're in your mid-20s. You met this fella. He wasn't well-to-do. I don't know. For some reason, I'm a little skeptical about something, and maybe it's just my apprehension about people.
I can tell you what it is. No, you're right. Yeah, I can tell you exactly what it is.
What do you think?
Guy,
what do you think?
What did you expect to happen?
Okay.
I met him under the auspices of church, right? So I was living a lifestyle, right? I got that body count so early on, right? And again, I think that's a high body count for me. But I tried to turn my life around, and I went to church. And this is where I met him. So under the, I'm not going to say spell, but under the spirituality of it all, and, everybody else is coupled, and it looks right, and this is what we do. And that's kind of how it all meshed. It wasn't like.
Right, but here's my thing, though. Did you have a serious boyfriend? Because you met this guy when you were, about 25?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So between the ages of 18 and 25, you're talking about a 7-year time span. Did you have a serious relationship with anybody between the age of 18 before this guy? A serious relationship of any kind?
In high school, yeah, my person I was with when I lost my virginity, yeah.
Okay, but you're saying you didn't have a serious relationship from 18 until you met this guy?
No, I'm not even gonna lie. I was young. I was having fun, and
of course,
I was just, I had a body. I didn't have stretch marks. It was perfect.
The good old days. Let it rip, baby. Let it rock.
Yeah, that was a good time. Yeah.
Right up until Rico Suave showed up. Yeah, it was good times. Okay, here's my real thing about it though. Up until then, was he the first non-black male you dealt with, or have you ever dated black men?
He was the first.
Okay, he was the first non-black male?
Correct.
Okay. Did you date anybody prior to him? I'm talking about between the ages of 22 and 25. Did you have a boyfriend anywhere in there?
No, not a boyfriend. Casual hookups, but not like a boyfriend. Oh, this is my girl. And
all right.
Nothing like that.
I just wanted to go ahead and narrow that part down because something else to consider here as well, which is, like I say, this guy here, not to be disparaging on the gentleman, but certainly he wasn't a very high climber. He wasn't really about upgrading anything. You live in a not cheap state, but he wasn't really trying to progress beyond that. He's got a wife and 2 kids. Financially, he is very, very much working class. Very much working class. He needed 2 jobs to make it into the middle class. And to be totally honest, with a wife and 2 kids, $70,000 a year, he's not really middle class. Not when you start actually adding up what his liabilities. He's not actually getting there. After a decade, he essentially had not moved, which was why he was probably perfectly fine filing for divorce, because he knew he wasn't going to have to pay anything on account of the fact that his financial standing never actually moved. And I'm just saying to myself, I wonder if he were black, would you still have done that?
I would have, because I wanted the illusion. What I thought, right? I was younger. I wanted marriage, right? I wanted the house, and the kids, and I wanted to be that wife.
Here's the problem. According to you, I'm just doing math here. According to you, this was the first non-black male you dealt with. 13 people later. Yeah. 13, give or take a few. Because if she says 13, then the number is probably closer to 20 or 25. Not to besmirch a lady's honor, but we all grown-ups here. If she's saying the word 13, she's saying that number, the real number's probably closer to 22, 25. But you know what? For the sake of argument, we'll just say wink, wink, 13. Got it. So what I'm saying is, this was the first non-black male that you dealt with. He didn't have to have great employment. He didn't have to be upwardly mobile. He didn't really have to be able to do anything for you of any consequence. And that was good enough to get married and have 2 kids and not to expect anything from him. Like literally what you were saying, I'm perfectly fine shopping at the thrift store and this, that, and the other. From a lady who, according to her, and all women say this, every woman claims when she was in her 20s that her body was banging off the meat rack, and then you get a picture of it and it's like, oh, the body bag was hanging off the meat rack.
No,
But
I can send you a picture. Okay. I was something.
Okay, well, like I say, I mean, they do say that, so that perfectly fine. I'll take your word for it. With that being the case, doesn't that kind of count as a waste? If I can just be thoroughly honest about it there, doesn't that count as a waste? Because if you've got the ability to pull something better, what in the world are we doing here? And by your own admission, well, I wasn't looking for marriage before him. Or you said you were looking for marriage. Well, you weren't looking for marriage for
I said I changed my life and went to the church.
Right.
And at that time, when I found the Lord and got into church, just everything changed. You know, my way of thinking and my future and things like that I thought about.
I'm glad to hear that. But with being that as it may, those weren't requirements you had before you met him. So she wasn't trying to do that then. She gets with him and she's willing to make a lifelong commitment. So, like I say,
I wanted a lifetime commitment, period, and I met him at the church. So turning my life around, through the church just changed everything. And then we met, and I was already in the church. I'd put away the lifestyle.
Now we all know what that means. I was trying to change my lifestyle. So that means threesomes, foursomes, drugs, and moresomes.
Oh, no.
So that's what that means. Yes,
now
when they say that.
Object, Your Honor. I object.
That's what that means. She's like, let me see if I can clean up these demons.
When I say the lifestyle, never. When I say the lifestyle, I mean, the dope boys, right? Because that's what I was doing. But it wasn't back
as
then.
I said, threesomes, foursomes, and moresomes. So,
that's not today's dope boys. I'm talking about the old dope boys with the pagers and the beepers. Not mine.
Can I pray away the demons of bedrooms past? Can I pray away them demons?
Oh my God, no.
She's like, oh,
I haven't said anything, but
every time she closes her eyes, she sees the 3 of them. So
you're funny.
I understand.
You are hilarious.
I just sent you a text message, April. You can go ahead and you said, I'm not sure how you're going to do that, but you said you can show me what you were looking like before you met this dude. Well, you know what?
Okay.
I'll take you up on that offer.
Well, please don't. Are you gonna? You can't share it with the world.
No, I'm not gonna post it and share it with the world.
Okay.
No reason to do that.
I'll do that.
No reason to do that. So, in
right.
the meantime,
Pull
here,
my picture up.
by the
Sorry.
way, when was the last time you talked to him?
Oh, well, we have 2 daughters, so we talk frequently for the sake of the girls. He'll be picking the girls up next weekend.
Okay.
It's his weekend.
You've been divorced,
So,
and you say you've been divorced.
We have to be perfect.
You've been divorced for a couple of years, correct?
Yeah, since 2018 it was finalized, but we were separated in
Right.
2016.
Oh, 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since 2018, glad to hear that. When's the last time you had sex with him?
With him,
Be
last
honest.
year.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Last year.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for being
last
honest.
summer.
Fellas,
Yeah.
women always sleep with the father of their children. Just, it is what it is. Just accept it, understand it. They're going to tell you upside and one down. He's terrible, it's awful, but he will always have access. So it is. Welcome to the real world. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie again. And it goes kind of back to my faith, right? Till death do we part. He's still alive. I get it. We're divorced. I get it. But I'm just not comfortable with anyone else. It's been that duration of a time. It's been that long. Yeah. And I just can't, I don't even know how to begin.
This is the female rationale
and
of, I'm going to keep my body count low. That's the rationale that females use for that.
I mean, where am I going to meet anyone? I live in a neighborhood where there are no other people, that everyone in this neighborhood, everyone in my life, they're all married. So I'm not, and I don't go out. I don't,
Okay, well, there's the reason right there. So, I mean, where am I going to meet anyone?
Yeah,
probably
okay.
The same way you met him. What are you talking about? You had no problem meeting him.
I mean, at the church, but everybody at church already knows, this is my church. They know, okay, she's married, she's divorced. It's not as easy as you think. And again, I'm not looking. I mean, it's not something that is on my mind, that it's what I want to do. Right now, my focus, my girls are down a man, right, because he's not here. So they need everything. If I were to get into a relationship with someone, it would be selfish to the girls because I have to pay attention to him. I have to cook his food. I have to court him. I got to suck his dick every 2 days. It's like I have to take care of him, and I would be neglecting my responsibilities. So right now, while my daughters are young, I just don't think that it's a good idea for me to look for other relationships right now. And people look at me like I'm crazy, but
there may be some validity to it. But my real point about it is that you're 36 years old now. You think you're going to be more attractive for a man at 40?
And that's okay. I understand the consequences of my actions.
Brake pedal. I asked a question.
Sure.
Respectfully, I asked a question. You're saying, well, I got to think about the girls. Got it. And you certainly don't want dudes running in and out your house because that's a bad look.
That's right.
But my point is, you're 36 now. You think you got, how many years do you think you have to wait?
To answer your question, right now, that's not my concern at the moment.
Do you own any pets?
I know it sounds crazy.
Do you own any pets?
No, I don't.
Do you have any houseplants?
I do not.
Okay.
Actually, I'm trying to get one to grow, and it keeps dying on me.
Oh, okay. So you're failing. You do have a house plant. You just have a brown thumb, is what you have. So okay, got it.
My daughter grew a bean in school, and I'm trying to keep it alive.
Okay,
That's all.
well, I'm glad you explained that to you right there. So yeah, y'all, she's open to having one, but he ain't made himself available, and so. Let me tell you, if she's single long enough, she's gonna be putting kittens in the microwave. So there's the real problem.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I'm just content with right now in motherhood, and I know that this is not going to be forever.
Okay, you are not content being alone, and you are not coming into your womanhood by yourself. You're not. It ain't working.
Okay.
It's not working. That's why you let him tiptoe through. Because it's not working. You're not okay being alone. That's why you're like, okay, when did we have sex? Last year? Now she's probably leaving out.
I didn't say I was content with being alone.
Okay, thank you.
Because
so there's my
hard for everyone.
But
loneliness.
So you're not focusing.
So you cannot.
So you're not. But you're not content with it, because if you were, old boy wouldn't have been over there. You're not content with it. You are tolerating the circumstances, but very clearly
Correct.
you're not.
I like that. I
you're
like that.
tolerating it.
Yeah, tolerating the circumstances.
Because ain't nothing better come along. But let's just keep it real. It's not because you are okay with this. It's
Sure.
like, okay, I'm waiting on something better to come along. You know, I
don't think anything better is going to come along. What guy is going to want to be with a 36-year-old divorcee with 2 daughters? Nobody's going to want that. And I don't expect anyone, right? If I had sons, I wouldn't want my sons to bring home that, right? So why would I expect anyone to want to father my daughters, right? If that's not their dad.
Well,
I can't have that expectation. That's unrealistic.
I'm just going to have to assume that this is you. If this was you then, well, you was all right back then. I'm wondering how much of this has been preserved. I don't know how much of this has been preserved.
My goodness. It's in a scrapbook. I will show you what I look like today. You are
all right.
a mess.
Size. Is it size 14 or greater?
Right now, I'm a size 14. So, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, he ain't guessing his way through this. So it's like, okay. There you go.
No, I don't have to. I'm not going to be.
Here's my point. Here's my point, though.
In this picture, I was a 6 in that picture. But today we're 14.
When was this picture taken?
This picture was taken in 2009, right before I got married.
Wow. Okay. So in other words, he barely got a taste of this, and as soon as you got married, you turned into a different female.
Oh, you are just being
Am
so
I wrong?
mean.
Am I wrong?
I am not.
Okay, she
I've
went
had
up
his children, 8. So if it was for his kids,
ma'am, if he knew that you didn't have the discipline to maintain this, he would have foregone the kids.
It's true.
You didn't tell him now, as soon as I have
do.
the kids now, this is the last time you're going to see this size 6. From here on in, it's size 16.
You are horrible.
But it's true. But it's true. And you know it.
You are horrible, Jay.
It is
oh
true.
Oh, my God.
Y'all, if he had known that was coming, he'd have been like, oh, really? Well, let me bypass this option.
I'm going to show you what I look like today because I'm not, when you say 14, I'm not like the round 14. Like I'm not. All right, I'm going to stop because I already know what you're going to say. 14 is 14. Shut up.
There you go. Ma'am, I'm just saying, these are games you play with yourself. These are not games you're playing with the rest of us. These are games that you're playing with yourself. By the way, in the chat room, I'm going to post up here for the Zoom so you all can check that out. My man, Afro Elite, thank you very much for contributing to support tonight's program. Successful Line Book Club. I was about to tell her she needs to be on the last train leaving. I'm going to be doing a program on the 26th called The Last Train Leaving. She's really not old enough, to be totally honest. I don't think she's quite old enough for it. The problem is she's lacking discipline and a plan. That's what's wrong. Okay, baby.
So I just took you a picture of what I look like today. I took that picture.
Where are your people? Where are your people from?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
We're from the Caribbean.
Okay, I figured.
Hey, what does that mean?
Because you got that Caribbean look to you. So, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, that means your folk came down from New York.
Yeah, we came from the Caribbean, and then my mom went to New York, and then we went back to the Caribbean. So I lived in the Caribbean for like a lot of my childhood. Yeah,
not guessing his way through it. So I'm like, okay, there you go. So, all right, well, she certainly does look like a size 16 for the Caribbean. So she got them Dominican tied in braids in her hair. She got that look to it. So. In any case, definitely she's not in fighting trim. So I can understand why there would be the tolerance threshold is going to be kind of low because, yes, this is a dramatic difference between what he married. Yeah. So what I'm saying is how you do one thing is how you do all things. So at some point, you kind of just, I don't know, you kind of just got lazy and lax about being a wife and competing. And the problem is,
I did.
It's one thing, you can do that before you get married. You can't do that after you get married. You got to be in it to win it. Once you sign that and you start having kids, that's it. It doesn't matter if you don't like this guy anymore. Out here in society, men in general are not really lined up to take care of another man's kids because what you're your previous relationship is never over. That's what it means to be a single mom. You're a single mom. That means your previous relationship is ongoing. That dude is always orbiting, and men are not stupid. We know basically y'all two are going to have each other in your back pockets basically for the rest of your life because he's got you over a barrel. He's taken a major portion of your desirability, and he knows he got that. He's willing to accept that because he's the one who did that. So you see, he doesn't mind them stretch marks because he put them on you. So those are his stretch marks. They're not yours. They're his. He doesn't mind the kids because, once again, he put them on you. So those are his kids. So he's perfectly comfortable with this whole situation. Problem, he's the only male on the planet who is perfectly comfortable with this whole situation.
And that's why my expectation is what it is, right? And this is what I learned from you and your show. You know, I can't have the expectation that this is what it is, but I expect, okay, this other guy can come in and rescue me.
But you can't. The problem is you can't, because your psyche is already on the borderline, and you being by yourself is not really a great situation. You by yourself and sharp objects, I'm worried about what's going on there. So that's,
oh my God,
that's the kind of thing I'm concerned. I am concerned.
Oh my God, you are so funny. I love you.
Sharp objects.
I don't care what you say.
Sharp objects and flammable liquids. I'm concerned about what's going on there.
You better stop it. Okay. No, it's
by
not
the way,
that bad.
By the way, I am not 100% convinced that this is you in both of these pictures. I'm not 100% convinced.
Oh my God, do you want me to do a selfie? You need to stop it.
No, I'm talking about the younger picture, because that's looking like Kelly Rowland. So I'm like, wait a minute now.
That's me. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I used to look like, right? Those are my good days.
Okay.
I had a short haircut.
Well, she say that's my version of the story. I'm sticking with it. But my real point here is at 36 years old.
Oh my God.
At 36 years old, you know, like I say, it's just one of those things where, you know, I understand what's going on there, but the real issue is, with that being the case, you know, you're not okay with that. You got a whole life to live. You got 2 kids at this point here, so they're around the ages of what, 8 and 10?
They're exactly 8 and 10. Wow, you're really good.
Been around the block for you here, by the way. So while the rest of these guys on YouTube are guessing their way through life, I'm not doing that. So it's people love it and then they don't love it. Here's the real issue. The real issue is you're 36 years old. You're going to be carrying them kids now for another 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, by the time that you're telling yourself you're going to re-enter the damn marketplace at 48.
I've never said that. Oh
okay.
My gosh.
Well, I'm saying that's what you're thinking.
Entering the marketplace.
When you make the statement,
I have no plans
no, stop.
The marketplace.
When you say that you're going to restrict what you're doing for the sake of the kids, just remember that's taking you off the market for another decade plus.
Yeah, and I understand that. And right now,
and if you think that the pickings are slim now, what do you think they're gonna be at 48?
So you're saying, Jason, that a lady like me or a woman in my situation, in my shoes, should be in this time of my life in my 30s looking to be on the market right now as a single mom?
I'm saying
that's not what I kept from your
saying
other shows.
That you do not want to be alone, as expressed by your behavior. All that stuff is just happy talk and fantasy talk. You ain't okay with that. So with that being, I deal with people in the real world. I don't listen to their gobbledygook and their bull jive. I listen to what they're really saying. And you are clearly not happy, satisfied, or content being by yourself. You're not.
But this is where I have to be, right? So whether I'm happy or not, or content or not, so you say, this is where I am, and I acknowledge that.
Okay.
And I just don't expect anyone else.
Actually, it doesn't have to be that way. The truth of the matter is that most single moms could actually get themselves out of that position, but there's one problem. The character is just like being a fatty. The character traits that... You know, you meet chicks who used to be former fatties. They used to be fat and then they lost weight. Problem. The emotional problems that they had that made them fat, they didn't lose those. So now she may be slimmer, but she's still carrying the same issues that made her fat in the first place. Single moms become single moms for a reason. They become single moms because of character defects and character traits. And those are what they never resolve. And because they never sit down and resolve them, that's why they stay in that position. More of you actually could potentially get out of it. The problem is the character traits that turn you into being undesirable, you don't get rid of them. Even when it's clear you're in a do or die situation, you still won't let those traits go or resolve them and say, hey, I don't have the luxury of being like this.
Yeah.
And then and what happens is you all of you do the same thing. Y'all sit up and talk this garbage you saying on the phone with me, but when a man meets you in person, it's a different situation. Instead of you just being honest from the get-go and saying what you're not happy with and then addressing the issues, you're instead doing the dumb talk. Oh, well, I don't know what I can do and what was me. Okay, that's not really where you're at emotionally. So that's more time wasting. Now, I'm not telling you that you're going to get a millionaire or anything like that. What I am telling you, though, is that the truth of the matter is most single moms remain that way because the emotional and character defects they have, they didn't resolve them. If they actually resolved them, more of you would actually have more options. Problem is, we can smell a single mom with the character defects from a mile away. That's what no man is going to attach himself to. Because now you coming in the door with liabilities.
May I? When you talk about those character traits and how to get rid of them, not how to get rid of them. My question would be, you're absolutely right. I told you I love your show. I think what you're saying is right. I agree. So how does one?
It is a broadcast.
In a situation like mine, get rid of it.
It's a broadcast, not a show. D.L. Hughley has a show. Steve Harvey has a show. I have a broadcast. In any case, how do you get rid of them? The same way that you got
and that
them.
Didn't work.
Therapy does not work. You know why therapy doesn't work?
Why?
Tell me about your therapist. Give me their approximate age, gender, and race.
So my gender is a male. He's black. I wanted a black male therapist. His age, he's 57.
You're seeing him. You're seeing him now.
56. Correct.
Okay.
And I don't think that it's helping. I think that I'm wasting a lot of money. I'm wasting my copays, and I think so.
I think so too. I think so too, and I think the issue is you. So
tell me why it doesn't work.
Generally speaking, therapy does not work for one major reason. Therapists are not actually trying to fix the patient's issue. They are trying to get the patient to a point where the patient is comfortable where they are. To put it in okay, stop.
Wow, perfect.
Stop, brake pedal, because everybody else is listening right now. If you all want to know why therapy does not work as practiced today, it is because therapists generally act, if I could make it analogous to medicine, you all are thinking that you're going to therapy and you're getting a cardiac surgeon and rehab. That's not what therapists do. Therapy is more like a hospice. They're not here to help the person get better. They are simply the DSM and their training simply doesn't teach them to help you get better. It defines better as making you comfortable accepting where you are. Not saying, here is my goal. Now tell me how to get to my goal. Well, what's your goal? I'm 36 years old with 2 kids and I'm divorced. I'm trying to get another Negro to come and take care of these kids with me.
That is not my goal, Jason.
That is your goal. But here's the problem.
To get over the
that
emotional
is,
baggage.
Man, okay, you want to get over the emotional baggage because that's what's standing between you and a new mate. Period. So let's stop I'm not going to argue it. Stop the nonsense. You still laying up with that man because you desire a masculine being in your life. So let's knock it off. Therapists don't do that. Therapists, you can't tell them, show me what I need to do so that I'm more attractive for a man, to get rid of the issues that are making me unattractive to men. Therapists ain't going to help you with that. They will sit there and tell you, why, sure, we can help you with that. They say, why, sure. But that is not what they do. Period. They don't do that. So a lot of you are under misconceptions about what you're going to get if you go to a therapist. I have helped more people and more women to fix their issues because, or somebody like a Dr. Phil helps more people because they're goal oriented. The majority of people in the therapy profession, first of all, they should be on the couch they damn selves. That's the first thing. Most of them need to be on a couch. They don't need to be talking to somebody. They need to be on a couch. Their lives are in such a shambles, but they're not goal-oriented people. Here's the problem. Nobody ever determines if the therapist is actually effective. It's not like you really have a Yelp for results. Therapists give these folks somebody to talk to. The next thing you know, they become your friend. The next thing you know, you've been going to them for 10 damn years. So you've given the therapist a decade of your life, but you never got anything out of it except more trips to the therapist.
Correct.
Now, the difference between me and them is that I can sit here and just say, you know what? I don't have a vested interest in it. I'm not getting paid by you. I'm not having sex with you. So I can be honest with you about it. And I speak for the pool of men that you're trying to get interested in you. I'm probably just a little more articulate and a little more informed about it, but I speak for the pool of men you're interested in. So I can tell you that. Your therapist doesn't know, nor is he speaking for them. He's like, yeah, I'm a therapist. And I ain't really trying to get a size 16. So he's just going to try to he's just going to talk in circles about your marriage.
Size 14, Jason.
14. He's going to talk in circles about your size 16 and your divorce. But what he's not going to do is sit up here and explain to you about how to rectify it. He's not going to do that. So that's the real issue.
You're right. You're right.
Therapy today is a scam. Therapy today is a scam in the United States. Therapy as practiced today in the United States is a bunch of know-nothings who may or may not have gotten a psychology degree, but they are completely incompetent and inept at assisting you in taking control of your life and changing it, because they're not trying to help you change your life. That's the real scam of it. Even if you ask them, they're going to tell you, well, this will change your life. It really won't. He's not trying to change your life. He's just trying to help, because the DSM doesn't do that. Folks, the DSM does not tell you how to change people's lives. Even though Sigmund Freud probably could have done it and Carl Jung probably could have done it, the DSM is not a how-to guide of changing people's minds and changing their mindsets. The DSM is a book of understanding and identifying personalities and mindsets, not of changing them. So therapy is a scam because all y'all really end up doing is getting a sister girl or a brother girl or whatever. But that's all you end up paying for. What you don't get are the results you came for, which is, hey, I am divorced and lonely. I need you to help me fix this. I heard the problem is me. So what do I need to fix to do that? Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
But when I say that, because I didn't say like the whole I'm lonely part, but I said I'm divorced. You know, I'm 36 years old. I just want help getting over this because I feel like I'm still not over it. And I don't know, like you said, your last relationship is, you know, it continue. It's a continuum. So that's when you said that it all makes sense. But when I ask the therapist that and I say that, you know, I need help, I want to, you know, get through this. How can you help me?
Yeah, I want to get. I want to get through this. Thank you. I want to get through this. You're using vague, emotional, general terms, and he is giving you the standard formula. Let me make her comfortable in this hospice bed. What he's not doing, what you did not ask was about leaving. Hey, I want to get another husband. I need to fix the character traits that are preventing men from wanting to commit to me. Now, that's what you need to say. Say that, and then listen to what his response is. You got homework to do.
I do. I'm glad I called. Thank you so
very much for checking in with us here. No, folks, therapy in the United States is a scam. Women are getting fleeced all over the damn place. therapy simply doesn't work because the therapist is more interested in keeping you in their office. The only thing the therapist is going to do is tell you cut this person off or explain yourself more. They're not going to actually tell you how to make a better life because they can't. They can't. Therapy as practiced in the U.S. is a scam. A complete and total scam that promises all kinds of things and delivers nothing. All you end up doing is paying for years or decades and you don't get anything. You think they're going to teach you how to fix your character flaws, and they never even discuss your character flaws. All they want to do is make you comfortable in the situation you're in. Or at the least, it's like what they say is, what the therapists say is, we want to help you. We don't tell you what's wrong. We try to help you to identify what's wrong yourself. That'll never work. That can never work. Because if the person is in complete denial of it, it's like, okay, well, don't tell them they're wrong because they'll fight back over it. No, actually what you do is you confront them about where they're wrong and let them know, hey, I'm a third party source. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not your family. I'm not your friends. I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not your ex-husband. I have no reason to lie to you. You just met me. Now, if they can do like me and start naming the factors in your life and the circumstances in your life without you telling them, where you're saying, damn, you really do know. That's how you get credibility in the mind of a patient you're talking to. These therapists don't have that. They don't have the life experiences. You're talking to a woman whose husband was cheating on her and everything else. The therapist doesn't know anything about that. How's he going to help you deal with a cheater and he's never been a cheater or dealt with a cheater? How is he going to do that? I'm talking about personally one-on-one. How is he going to help you with your cheating spouse and he's never dealt with one? He's never experienced it. The DSM doesn't have a prescription for dealing with that. So if he's never done it, never lived it, never dealt with it, he can't help you with those circumstances. How is a therapist going to help a single mom to get a high income man if the therapist has never been a single mom trying to get a high income man? Or the therapist is not a high income man who would be interested in a single mom. How is she or he going to help you? All they're going to try to do is make you comfortable where you are. That's how they make their money. Making you comfortable where you are. Sit you down, ask you a bunch of questions, and try to get you to sit up and come to peace with where you are. But not to change where you are. Because if they do that, then they're going to feel like they're going to have to be accountable for their advice. I'm willing to be accountable for it. These folk y'all pay hundreds and thousands of dollars refuse to be accountable. They will never say, come back to my office after I tell you this. They'll just say, ooh, well, how do you feel about that? 5 years later. Caller from area code 443. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? My name is Corey Joyner. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and
Okay.
I wanted to.
I think Corey already called in once already.
Yeah, I did, sir.
What is your
I
name?
wanted to read you.
What is your name in the chat room, Corey?
Corey staying focused.
Okay, well, I hope he does. Corey, I will allow you to do that. I usually don't let people call back in, but I'll give you 30 seconds. What did you want to say?
I wanted to answer the question, which is the title of the video. Why do men have to lie? They have to lie because they need power in a situation or a circumstance that they don't necessarily even have. They have to create it out of midair or out of, thin air for control or power. So I wanted to mention that.
Caller from area code 917. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from area code 917 has hung up the phone here. Jason, why don't you let them call back twice? Why don't you let people call back in twice? That's why. Right there. There you go. That's the reason right there. Why? Well, don't do that. It goes beyond with just what we were discussing here tonight. It goes beyond that because when you are dealing, the real problem with allowing this to fester like it is when you are dealing with a dishonest contingent. Remember, this is supposed to be your warrior class. This is supposed to be your protector and provider class. Females talking about they're going to take care of themselves and make their own money. Biggest scam in the world. The only thing they're going to do is try to get the employers to give them free money. But there's not a female listening to me right now who is saying to herself, boy, I can't wait to work 60 hours a week harder than I did last week. They're never going to outwork men. You're never going to do that. You're never going to work as hard as men do. That's not going to occur. Nice little fantasy to throw online, but it's not actually something you're going to do. That's the issue. And if somebody else comes along and offers the promise that they can make that easier for you, that's the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to be. So what you need to have is a competent warrior class, a competent builder class. If you don't have that, it doesn't work. Caller from area code 708, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Sean, Chicago.
Sean in Chicago. What's on your mind?
Okay. Man,
are you in your truck tonight?
What?
Are you in your truck tonight?
I am. I can't wait to work another 70 hours this week.
Okay,
that is correct.
Are you in your Are you in your 18-wheeler tonight, ma'am?
I am.
There you are. I
really am.
I hear somebody blowing the horn at the truck stop right now. So thank you very much.
That ain't the truck stop, sir. But let me say something, sir. So when you are so right when you said that we'll be out here another 20 years and working till we die and put me on the last train moving or the last train that stop. I'm one of the people in real life. So why do men cheat? I can already see the men that is cheating. I could already see it. So if I put my time and effort in you and you everything to me, and then I could tell that you cheat because something moving different about you, right? So I could tell that's not my word, and that bothers me.
Sean.
And it's been going on since I was younger.
Yes, there's Sean. Every man who talked to you gonna cheat, baby. You just got to soak that up with the game. That's your lot in life.
Could I tell you something? You know my favorite show in the whole wide world is Jerry Springer. I love Jerry Springer, right? And if you go on the internet and you see these people that's cheating and something bad happen, it takes that one bad time for you to be down and out and just never coming back to recovery. Why do we have to deal with men cheating? So let me tell you,
Sean,
a man is like
the reason you have to deal with men cheating, number one, you're hella masculine. Number two, you're hella hard-headed.
Oh,
Number three, you a size 16. I mean, that's what you gonna have to deal with, ma'am. Those are the men who are available for you in your time slot. That's what you get. That's what you qualify for. You don't qualify for Mr. $200,000 a year and faithful. You don't get him. You get, Is there a male equivalent of the lot lizards? I don't know. Lot dragons, whatever it is. Lot dogs, but whatever the male equivalent of a lot lizards. That's what you get, Sean. And I'm not dissing nothing, baby. I'm just saying.
It's called a buffalo.
Okay.
It's called a buffalo. He called a buffalo.
Okay, well,
yeah.
you get a diesel buffalo is what you get. That's what you qualify for. Baby, I'm just saying for the females who don't have to put up with that, how competitive with them are you?
It's not the competitive.
Wow. Okay.
You
It ain't about
do it
competitiveness.
anyway.
No,
you just said you gonna do it anyway.
Sean, men weigh cost benefit. Okay, we weigh cost benefit. If it is worth keeping a side chick, we gonna take out an insurance policy. But then again, there are males who just coming in the door. He's just gonna sleep with anything he can. And I'm saying that's who Sean qualified for. I'm not dissing nothing. You qualify for the dude who take we can get. That's what you qualify for.
And I'm not. That's fine. I'm not gonna let you change your mind about that. That's fine. I digress. That was all I was calling to say, sir.
Okay. Well, Sean, can we have this conversation when you closer to a size 8 and see if you still getting the same results?
No, because if you got
Really?
5 baddies, it's gonna be the same thing. You gonna still want the 5 baddies. That's the problem.
Okay, but you have no.
I don't want my work messed with. Period. With no
Sean,
5 baddies.
But
one
Sean,
baddie,
what I'm
none of
saying,
them,
no,
none of
Sean,
them.
what I'm saying is that faithfulness costs. Listen to me, ladies from around the world. A faithful man is going to cost you. It ain't gonna be free. If you want a man to make you his only option, and he's gonna ignore everybody else out here, that's going to cost you. That's gonna cost something.
Could I?
If you gonna tell him that
Could I
he's got
ask you
it,
something
he has
about-
to, that you are the only female that he gets to see naked. You're the only one he gets to lay up with, and if you ready to rock, he's good. But if you say you got a headache, he's stuck. If you want that to be his only option, ma'am, that's going to cost you. You gonna have to pay something. That ain't gonna be free. That doesn't come standard. That's an add-on.
I would like to say something, please. You said it's gonna cost, and it's standard. A gingerbread cookie is standard. We already know it's brown with the white icing, right? So then you got a girl or a mate come and put a gold dot on a gingerbread cookie, right? The cookie be like that for 7 years, right? So if you leave the one who put the gold dot on, you move on to the next one. She gonna put the red on you, right? She been there 2 years. There's no reason to cheat if you just stop. She had her 7 years to do what she was gonna do, and that's what she did. She put the one gold dot on you. You moved on. The other girl put the red on you. The other one come on, put the diamonds on you, whatever. When do you say sold? There's no reason to cheat. All you have to do is just move on accordingly.
Let me say this again. If you want a man to make you his only option, that comes extra. That's extra. It is extra. If you want to be his only option with no complications, that comes extra. Especially if you want to also add on other things. He can't be broke and he can't be struggling. Ma'am, that's extra. That's extra. That will cost you more. Period.
If somebody feel like if they feel like I'm not good enough, it's definitely gonna be their loss.
Okay.
And I just sit back and watch.
Listen to me, Sean. Get this through your head.
Yes.
No woman is good enough to get that off the bat. None. No woman is good enough to just get that thrown at her for free at no extra charge. There's no woman who just gets that automatically. Any more than a man gets a female with a nice physique automatically. That's why I tell these fellas, I don't give a damn about your personality if you help little old ladies cross the street and if you buy Girl Scout cookies. It doesn't matter. No one's going to give that to you for free. Any more than if you were a size 6 with double D cups, you wouldn't be giving that. You would be telling them fellas, I ain't going to say a damn thing to you. Look at me. You can see that doesn't come standard. You can see that nobody is trying to give that, ma'am. Nobody. Ain't gonna happen.
You can look at the outside, but you can't look at these people. You cannot look at these people's character.
Okay,
you gotta
men and women,
men
and women look for two different things. As a woman, a man's character is paramount to you. Because he can't be committed to you without his character. You can have sex without character as a woman. Matter of fact, it makes it easier. So what you looking for, you're getting confused. You're confusing what you need with what men need. You're confusing the two. See, a man wants...
You're trying to do this power dynamic thing with me. Okay, I know exactly what I'm looking for. You know exactly what you're looking for. So, and I'm a woman and you're a man. So how do we even this out?
Ma'am, you're going to have to understand that 6-spoke wheel I gave you all, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. and you're not going to get everything you want. So you're going to have to decide what you will do without. It's really that simple. You're going to have to decide what it is that you are going to do without. Period.
We're going to tune in to the 26th when you have that program because I'm going to be part of them people.
Okay, well, I certainly want you to be there because if anybody needs to be Sean, you do. So send me an email, Sean. I'll see about booking you to be on the last train leaving.
Oh, no.
Send me an email.
Thank you for your help today.
handlethebusiness@yahoo.com. Send me an email. Sean knows damn well she needs to be there. She needs to be on that. The last train didn't leave her. The last train ran her over. She's been trying to jump back on it ever since. All right, let me see here on Zoom. I think I got Daniel here on Zoom. Are you there, Daniel?
Yes.
All right,
yes,
brother.
I'm here. You can hear me?
Yeah, what's on your mind?
I had saw the title today. Why do men lie? A lot of guys lie because they really ain't got nothing to show for it. I mean, it's easy for a man to lie to a woman anyway, but other men can't lie to other men, especially black men. Like, you can't run no finesse game on lunch in large numbers, like your Derrick Jacksons and your Steve Harveys. You know, it's just not hard.
Yeah, I mean, men know who to lie to. Men know who they can lie to, and they know who they can't. So that's always to keep in mind. They know who they can lie to, and they know who they can't.
And another thing, when you explained to the young lady about the therapy thing, that was 100% facts. Now, as you know, as who listened to me talk before, I am a paraplegic. I'm still a paraplegic. And I remember being in the hospital, and they tried to send a therapist in there to talk to me. It was an old white woman. After I was taking off them drugs, off the morphines and all that shit, they was hitting me with in the all that medicine they was hitting me with after getting my surgery and all that other shit. I realized very quickly, I was like, man, this is a scam. And that's what I started looking to myself, and I'm like, listen, this is what it is. If I know for a fact I might not never get a chance to walk, this is what it is. I already accepted that. You feel me? Even though it's a cure out for it now that I'm still looking into, but for the most part, I already accept that reality. So one of the things I realized in that hospital bed, hey, how I'm gonna use this as my leverage and how I'm gonna be able to live a productive life, you know, so without making no excuses. And how I'm gonna get the bag up. That was really my main thing. I wasn't trying to. Everything else was very irrelevant to me.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, a
So
therapist in
right
general is not going to address any of those things. Therapists don't help you make your life better. Everybody assumes that's what it's for. A therapist is not there to make your life better, nor are they there to coach you, instruct you, or mentor you in making your life better. A therapist is there to make you feel better about the life you have. That's what they're there for. Because that's something you can actually do. That's something that you can train any idiot who falls into a classroom. You can train them to run game on other people. You can use the DSM to teach folk how to run game on somebody. So they can teach you how to feel better about the life you're in. Unless you're a person who's like, yeah, I ain't trying to feel better about it. I need a different damn life. Then they start trying to make you feel better about not having a different life. But it never becomes about how do we transform where you're at. I'll let you have the last word.
That's just like, because it's just like you getting a sore and you can put a Band-Aid on it, but they don't actually have the tools to cure you. But one of the last thing I would like to say, the only thing that helped me was the physical therapist. Now, the physical therapist definitely helped me because they showed me how to.
They showed you how to change your life.
Yeah, basically.
They didn't try to make you feel better about where you were. They were at least trying to help you get somewhere else. And that's what you really wanted. And the therapist is not an effective factor in that equation. We want to make you not feel sad or not feel depressed. I'm like, okay, I understand that. But the bottom line is that's what you're talking about is only going to go so far. At the end of the day, they're not really trying to fix it. They just want to make you feel better about the circumstances that you are under, but they're not actually trying to fix it. Thank you very much for checking in with us tonight, Daniel. We appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get caller on area code 252. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is King Lewis. I'm from Wilson, North Carolina.
Okay, I'm not sure if you are on headphones or a speakerphone, but you are coming through really digitized, so try that again. Okay, now he's got his Marvin the Martian walkie-talkie. Try again.
Yeah, I'm trying my hardest to really really.
What is your name and where are you calling from, sir?
My name is King Lewis. I'm from Wilson, North Carolina.
All right, King Lewis from Wilson, North Carolina. What's on your mind?
Okay. Wanted to answer your question on why do men lie, especially in women in particular. And I came to the conclusion that a lot of the reason why men feel the need to lie, in particular, especially to women, is because there's a certain hierarchy set up in which the majority of men don't qualify to have access to women due to the certain high standards that it is that they have. And a woman already has made up in her mind her own self-worth, especially due to the fact that certain beta males and certain people that don't match up to whatever it is standards that she has, they have the inflated egotistical stuff going on about them all the time. Anyway, due to their nature, they always want to gravitate towards whoever it is they feel like grants them the highest chance of survival, rather it be psychologically, rather it be materialistically, financially, or whatever.
Well, let me ask you a question here. What are the standards? What are the standards that you think women as a group have today? That these certain most women and stuff like that, they already have made up in their mind what type of man it is that they, and 9 times out of 10 it's going to be the man who has the most resources, the man who can offer the most provision, the man who can, whoever it is that they feel like they can benefit off of most in the relationship. And most men simply don't qualify for that because you have a certain 80% of women going to a certain 20% of men. And that leaves the rest of the men not really having an opportunity to be able to gain sexual access, to be able to gain the companionship, and to be able to really operate themselves with the relationship dynamic that it is that they're really looking for. So instead of actually going back and self-improving and equipping themselves with the qualities of themselves that make them attractive to the opposite sex in order to want, a lot of times people take the lazy route and they just decide to appeal to somebody's fantasy. Feeding somebody's fantasy and telling a lie will make them more equipped in order to get whatever it is that they want, because most people don't want to live in a world of reality. Reality is too much harsh for them to accept. They would rather go along with whatever it is fantasy they have, because fantasy is whatever makes them feel good. Well,
if they can manipulate the situation enough,
let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. Okay, let's land here. Let me take a look at that a little bit differently here. You all have to understand that there's a certain type of male out there who recognizes game. Females try to run game. Females don't have game, but they try it. There's a certain segment of society that understands that. So the first thing they understand is when a female doesn't qualify for what she's trying to get. That you know what it is she's trying to get, but you also know that she doesn't really qualify for it. Case in point, Safari and Erica Mania. That woman is in tears. She's toe up. She's bawling. She's falling all over the damn place. She's losing weight. But why? Because Safari was like, yeah, I'm good on you. And she woke up too late and realized that he knew something that she didn't think he knew. That he was the best she could do. And there's not going to be another one after him. And any talk that she has in her head of something after him is going to be way worse. It's not going to be like you're going to get another Safari. So any talk that she does of how she going to upgrade is not going to happen. I'll give you another case in point to think about. Remember, Safari allegedly was involved with Nicki Minaj. Did Nicki Minaj ever get better than Safari? We all know what she married to now, don't we? This is not a very high bar to clear, but I would dare say he's the guy she married is not better than Safari. He's certainly not more prestigious, status, productive. He's not. So what I'm saying is that the first thing that the fella understands, whether his money is straight or not, if he's simply paying attention to the world, he recognizes when a person is trying to get something that they don't actually qualify for. If he understands this going in the gate, then the rules of engagement are clear, no matter what his finances are.
Right.
So being a beta starts first and foremost with being a fellow who isn't very knowledgeable nor observant of the world he's in. That's the first thing. So when you talk about quote unquote what women's standards are, you say, well, 80% of the women are trying to get 20% of the men. That's true. Problem. Only about 10% of the women qualify for that top 20% of the men. There's the problem. So the 80% of the women are really delusional. To a fellow who understands this, he also understands that women have two phases. They have the phase of chasing the guy they want, and then they have the phase of settling for the one that they don't. The one they tell themselves they can do better than. Eventually, she gonna have to pick something, because you can only choose from the options that are available, not the ones you wish were available. She's gonna have to choose something at some point. Now, whether she gets tired of it and starts trying to exercise hypergamy again is a different matter. But fellows who understand that recognize, you're gonna have to land at some point, because that top 10% doesn't want you. So you can keep buzzing around them, but the bottom line is they don't want you. And if fellas see, they don't really want you, you're going to have to come down here and fool with us in a minute. You're going to have to. And that is actually what eventually happens more often than not. Now, that makes you susceptible to dudes running game, dudes lying and everything else, because if he knows you are looking for a type of man that you don't qualify for, all he's got to do is start telling you, well, he's it.
Mm-hmm.
After the guys that you want have rejected you long enough, and that's worn you down, now you're gonna bite at something, because on the strength of the fact you don't have a choice. Now then you're gonna get upset and you're gonna jump back out there again, but she's gonna bite for something. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called from area code 404. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Jason? My name is AT, calling from Atlanta by way of Lagos.
All right, AT from ATL. What's on your mind?
I was wondering if you just touched base on the similarities between Derrick Jackson and the Tinder swindler, and how they both were able to dupe women and do it for so long without getting caught, and then eventually it all came crashing down towards the end once people started putting the piece together.
What are the similarities between Derrick Jackson and the Tinder swindler? First and foremost, they perfected the art of being shameless. That's first and foremost. Most of us couldn't do what these guys did because our face, our attitude, our tone, our demeanor would give it away. It would give away that we ain't really trying to believe this. As men, understand the part of our psyche that caught these guys, that catches a Creflo Dollar, a TD Jakes, a Tinder swindler, a Derrick Jackson, a Trent Shelton. There's a reason those guys can't make any traction with us as men, because as men, we're members of the warrior class. If we ignore deception, we die. Let me say it again. As men, we are members of the warrior class. If we ignore blatant deception, that can cost us our lives. So you see, we are biologically wired to look for deception, to look for deceit, to look for threats, and to not ignore them. And if you're a black man in America today, over the age of 25, that is a testament to you got some kind of sense about you that recognizes threats. So first and foremost, we are attuned and wired to identify and recognize a threat i.e. blatant deceit. Females will take blatant deceit as flattery. As a man, you lying to my face, I'm not flattered by that. Hey, Jason, that's some real nice wheels you got in your car, while he's sitting up here opening his briefcase to try to sell me something. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're operating deceit. So that's not a genuine compliment. This is going to go the other way from what you thought it was going to be, because you're approaching me with deceit. So as men, first and foremost, we recognize deceit. The other reason it worked, and I explained this Monday, is you're dealing with con men and they're exercising confidence. So he's saying these lies with conviction. He's saying it with absolute conviction. And the women are looking at him saying, well, he believes what he's saying. They don't recognize the difference between a man who believes what he's saying and a man who wants you to believe what he's saying. Females as a group don't recognize
You're
that.
right.
Last but not least, you asked the question, I'm giving him answers. He wants to start talking again. It's amazing. Last but not least, presentation. The poison pill goes down a lot better when it's got sugar and sweetener around it. And these guys knew how to put the right packaging on it. Derek is doing his steroid cycle or whatever he's doing. He knew to present himself a certain way. Take a look at the way he was 7 years ago and take a look at him now. It's night and day difference. That is strictly a testament to his focusing on packaging. So this tells you this was all premeditated. He was sitting there listening and saying, I know how to package this properly. I got the tools to let me package this properly, and let me go ahead and do that. And that's what he did. So the message is being packaged in a container that is overwhelming the logic and reason of most females. Females do have logic and reason. They don't rely on it as much as men do. So he puts it in a package specifically designed to override logic and reason. Case in point, I put this on my Facebook here for those of you who don't know. I was talking about why is it you have so many young females getting BBLs today? The reason is simple, because they are under the idea, they are hoping that will override a man's logic and critical thinking skills. She is hoping that butt implants will be such a distraction that it will overwhelm your logic and reasoning. And you will be completely focused on that and paying attention to absolutely nothing else. Even if she's lying to you, she's swinging her butt cheeks and talking about, I love you, daddy. It's specifically engineered to overwhelm logic and reason. These guys did the same thing. They put together a package and a container. All this stuff they're saying is deceitful. Say it with conviction. Say it like you believe it. And oh yeah, look like the kind of guy that this female wants. So she's plugged into her emotions where she wants to believe that she can have you. The trade-off is simply accept these things that you know are not real. That's all it will cost me? Okay, fine.
I just wonder, like, how long are women gonna deny what you and other men advocates are saying
till Jesus comes back,
and still fall for the okie doke that people?
This is female nature. This is not an aberration. This is not the exception to the rule. This is female nature. It used to be that the only way you could have encountered a Derek Jackson was if you lived in the same city he was in. In the same part of town, in the same city he was in. With the internet you've now made this available to everybody. I've said this before. All your red pill losers and beta losers talking about the internet made women have options around the world. Guess what? It gave men options around the world too. Now, it doesn't give losers options around the world. It doesn't give losers options around the world, but it gives men the same options around the world that women have. And guess what? That also includes men who lie. His hunting ground is now no longer relegated to where he lives. It used to be if you were a philandering male and whatnot, man, you had 2 or 3 chicks you could deal with in town, and after you exhausted that was it. You had to leave out of town. If you were a female and your name was slutty and ratty in the streets, you could be there for a minute, but you had to, once you've been through 10 or 12 dudes, you got to leave the city. Nobody's going to fool with you. Nobody's going to marry you. Today, they've got worldwide access. So he can, quote unquote, move from one city to another without ever having to physically relocate.
That's that Leonardo DiCaprio and the Catch Me If You Can kind of like scenario.
And there is an element to that, to being a rogue, that women find attractive. As I said at the beginning of the program, women find it attractive when you can get over on other women. As unseemly as that seems, women find that attractive. That's a turn on. She feels like, hey, look at you, you're dominating them. She feels that's great.
She thinks she's going to be the one not going to fall for it.
Well, no, she just feels like she's the one putting the leash on this lion. She knows she can't really control it, but she wants to have the semblance that she's the one the lion chose. Well, yes, you're the one the lion chose, but lions usually choose their meals carefully, so that's usually the way that goes. But the point is, that's the reason for it. She's sitting there looking at what he's doing to these other women and saying, wow, he's just so great at that. Look at these suckers. He's just so good at that. So they actually think that's a great thing. That's actually a plus. That's a positive. Now, when he turns it on her, it's no longer a positive. But take a look at Lala Anthony. She didn't have a problem with the way Carmelo was rolling when she was able to move the other women out the way. Carmelo was great then. Now Carmelo's not great anymore. All of a sudden, he's the same man doing the same thing he was doing when she met him. Now she doesn't like it. Well, yeah, because now the only woman he wants to get over on now is you. Now you don't want it. Too late. You got to be in it to win it. So you add all those factors together and just understand. I mean, we can't put the genie back in the bottle. The internet's here. Cell phones are here. This is what it is. This was something that existed everywhere we were. It's just now there's less separation between people in this particular threat, this particular dynamic.
Right.
That's all it is now. I'm saying that's all it is, but that's what it is now. You're not going to put the genie back in the bottle. This is what it is. Welcome to the new world. Welcome to the new world. This is what it is. As men, you got to adapt to it. By the way, the women have to adapt to it too. The women have to adapt to it too. But let's be very, very clear, brother. Women have been susceptible to a man lying to them their whole since creation. They like it. Especially if he's good at it. If a man, women love a man who excels, even if what he excels at is lying. Women admire a man who is in the top 1% of what he does, even if the top 1% of what he does is lying.
I just remember when Derrick Jackson was in his beginning stages, and
in the chat room, Aunt Patty said, "Not me, sir. No, ma'am. It's just that he ain't lying to you about what you want." But go ahead.
No, they were saying like the men were saying how he was corny and fake, and he ain't telling the truth, and the women were just up and down adamant that he's a real dude. If you ain't like, and then look at him now they stuck like Chuck. Don't know what to say. Mouth dropped. And it's like, man, we try to tell y'all, but y'all don't want to listen to us. Yeah. All hopes and dreams, you just tell shattered, because the quote unquote dream guy was a phony.
P.T. Barnum said it over a century ago. He said it over a century ago. Sucker born every minute.
That masterful explanation. I appreciate it. I'm gonna land my plane and keep doing the good work.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here. I mean, this is, look, there's a sucker born every minute. There's a sucker born every minute. That's, if they want to believe these things, they believe it. If they want to believe it, they believe it. You're not going to change that. There's a caller on here. Let me see. Is this an international caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, hi. I'm Mr. Solution, and I just wanted to...
Where are you calling from, Mr. Solution?
The U.S.
Okay, let me try this one last time. Where are you calling from, Mr. Solution?
The U.S.
Okay.
I'm in the United States.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. When you figure out where you are, you can give us a call back. Okay. Aunt Patty Cake, ma'am, you a little old to be talking about you ain't been gotten over on, ma'am. So just calm down now. Just humble yourself, baby. Humble yourself. Better yet, why don't you go ahead and give us a call up? I forgot. I got phone lines for that. Miss Patty Cake, you need to go ahead and give us a call up, ma'am, since you got so much to say and everything. You're going to go ahead and educate everybody about how it is that everybody else has been gotten over on, and you somehow have avoided that. Who am I? I'm the type of fella you wish you had. I'm just going to lay it out there simple for you. I'm not really cool on chicks named Aunt or Patty, but I will allow you to go ahead and call up. I will allow you to do that. I'm the kind of dude who doesn't. I'm the guy who didn't make you pay for your own Uber to get back home. I'm the guy who did that. I'm the guy who didn't have to pay for your shoes to get into the 50 and older club. You know that little old dance club for the 50 and older girls, the 50 and older females. I'm the guy who didn't do that. That's who I am. That's who I am. Don't be scared now. By the way, she's got 1 minute to call in, by the way. Ma'am, the only thing you are engineering is diarrhea. If you don't stop, everybody on the internet wants to pretend like they run this on the baby. You are not an engineer of anything. The only thing you are engineering is a Tonka toy. If you don't quit. I'm talking about men lying. I need to do a program about women lying. You're not engineering anything. All right, I got Brianne on Zoom. And what is on your mind?
Oh, I had just tuned in. I was just looking at the topic, men lie to women and everyone else. So I guess I just wanted to, chime in if I'm not too late.
Sure, what's on your mind?
I've said this before. I believe men do lie, but women tell bigger lies, like more substantial lies. So obviously it's important to acknowledge both, but I don't see a lot of men getting away with their lies the way I see women do.
Okay. That's an interesting perspective as a female to say that. What has been your experience with that?
Oh, well, my experience is I have been really big into paralegal in the law system. So I was following 5 fathers on their pursuit to fatherhood. And in one of the cases, a father found out a child wasn't his. And in another case, I would say a separate case also found out that obviously the woman was cheating on him. So the woman's lie, it's your baby. His lie was, well, I'm not really in love with you. I actually don't want to marry you. So it's like, I would say one's bigger than the other. They're both big, obviously, but, one changes the course of someone's life. The other one definitely gives someone a heartbreak for a while. So,
here's the difference. It's not so much just that one, quote unquote, changes your life. One has legal ramifications and the weight of the state behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're in the U.S. military, one has legal ramifications in the weight of the state. The other one doesn't.
That's true.
Either one of them could actually change your life to a certain degree, absolutely. But one binds you to the state. So with that being the case, that's a whole different thing when you're dealing with a situation where justice, our very concept of justice, can be ignored in favor of something unjust.
Very true.
That's a huge difference right there. Men don't have the number of mechanisms to be able to lie with the backing of the state. Now, here's the killing thing about it. It is men who instituted that. Men were the ones who made the rules. Women didn't make alimony. We made the rules. We made alimony. We made child support. We were the ones who said, we're going to take your license if you don't pay for your kids. We're the ones who did that. Now, of course, some folks say it was Republicans. Okay, I get the point. But as men, as a group, we're the ones who really enforce that, because if you have a daughter before the 1950s and you are placing her well-being in somebody else's hands, obviously you don't want a situation where this guy can be like, oh, well, I woke up one morning, I don't want to be a husband no more. It's like, oh, wait, hold on a minute. No. We went through this great big old ceremony and talked to a preacher and everything else. You were informed beforehand that if you have a, quote, change of heart, there will be ramifications. Well, we here now. Get ready. You can leave, but your money is going to stay here. On account of the fact that you got my daughter barefoot and pregnant over here, and ain't nobody else really going to be fooling with her after this. So that's why we instituted that, so that the men who were less honorable and less trustworthy, so that they would be under control, and so they couldn't bring things down. So it made it where the hurdle was higher for a man to get out of that. We put the onus on them. Furthermore, we didn't have a way of proving that the baby was yours or wasn't. It used to be, the only way you knew the kid wasn't yours is, hey, I'm Shaquille O'Neal, but this baby got red hair and looked like Blake Griffin. Hold on.
Yeah, new technology for sure.
Right. Now, 100 years or so ago, we did have a test that could check blood and check for certain types in the blood, but that was the closest you got. In the era of DNA, we've taken the guesswork out of that. There's no more guessworking involved. So you're dealing with what? 50,000 years of civilization and 160 million years of evolution. And we've only had the ability to determine if the baby is ours for the last 25 years.
True.
Think about that for just a few moments. So there's a big societal shift that needs to happen now. We used to give women the benefit of the doubt because there was so much doubt. And we couldn't prove that she's lying. You had no way to actually prove it. You might suspect it, but you don't have a way to prove it. Now we can prove it. What's happened, though, is the society is not caught up with that. And I'm not just talking about government. I'm talking about society's expectations. There's a number of folk who think it's okay to let women just lie. But you don't have a way that's the thing to think about that. There's a group that think that's okay to have.
No, I believe DNA testing should happen after every birth, married or not. And I said that on my channel, too.
I'm not just talking about government. Okay. Don, let me put you back over here in the waiting room, bro. You are doing the most.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
certainly.
But yeah, I believe a DNA test should happen. I mean, it's ironic enough. I'm like 8.5 months pregnant. So I still believe a DNA test should happen after every birth, just so that there's no doubt and that's out of the way,
Right. But now they want doubt. Born. But you're dealing with a government now that has a structure and an infrastructure built on doubt. So they made their rules based on that. If you take that away from them now, you're depowering them. So some folks will say, oh, they make a bunch of money off of it and whatnot, but government really does things because it's government's habit. Once they put it into place, they just keep going. So like I say, if you worked as a paralegal, if you worked in law, you realize there's a bunch of laws that are on the books, not because they serve a purpose, but because they've been there. And it's just easier.
I studied paralegal. I guess I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
I studied paralegal and I was in a pretty aggressive program last year, but obviously this year I've been focused more on my family.
That's fine.
I'm married. I'm a
but you get
pregnant.
the concept. Government, once they put rules in place, it's just easier to leave them there than it is to turn around and confront them. So that's how government works. Even if it's a bad rule, there may, if there was a rationale to put it in place at one time, even if it's a bad rule, government's going to be very reluctant to roll that backwards, even when it is clear and obvious that it should not be there. Case in point, the founding fathers did not write a constitution for a government that would move quickly. For those of you who are not aware, every state in the United States basically has copied the U.S. Constitution. They just basically made their own version of it. But please keep in mind, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Ben Franklin, Hamilton, they didn't write a document that moves quickly. They wrote a document that moves slowly. The reason for this was because they had just come from a monarchy where things move damn quick. The king could have you executed because he didn't like something you said. And he could go from being angry at you this morning to you being dead this afternoon. Even with a, quote, court system in place, you could go from the king being upset with you this morning to you being dead this afternoon. So they wrote a document that forces government to move slowly. So it's not like turning a race car. It's like turning a steamship around. It's like turning an ocean liner around. And that was deliberate. That is deliberate. At the state level, it's the same way. Case in point, with elections. I've dealt with this personally myself, by the way. When they have elections and whatnot, judges are not actually favorable to disputing election returns. They're not actually favorable to that because, and here's the phraseology they use, there is supposed to be a season of election and a season of governance. A season for election and a season of legislation. And the judges basically see it as their job to get that resolved as quickly as possible so we can get back to legislating. But that the election season should be brief and the rest of the time should be spent legislating. But you shouldn't have the election season just go on and on and on. Even if it's very clear that there's something wrong. So I did that because I want you all to have some idea of exactly where that comes from and why that's the way it is. So even with some of the wacky things you see, why it would make sense. How long you been married?
I've been married for 4 years, and I peeked at the chat yesterday. I'm married to a black man because that kept coming up. And I am 31. I'm not 18, so it's very sweet of someone to think. But no, I'm quite old.
Okay, so. Well, you've been taking care of yourself, and that man obviously lets you sit down and stuff like that. So that's for all the chicks talking about they want to work 60 hours a week. That's why they look like they 50 when they're 35. Is working 60 hours a week. I'm strong. I'd rather be working at home with the kids. Okay, she's at home with her kids and she looks like the kids. You sitting there at the job with the men and you look like the men. So
I was in my early 20s. I was working 4 jobs at once, and then I just started.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
$dollars on YouTube. I wanted to be the boss babe. I wanted to do everything, and I wore myself thin by 24. I was like,
yeah, there you go.
I'm not doing this no more.
I had 4 jobs at 20. Yeah, how'd that work out? Yeah. How'd that go?
I was on the therapist chair within 2 months of that. Yeah, it was too much. It was too much.
I'm surprised you weren't walking down the street.
Saying how proud they were of me, so I kept going.
I'm surprised you weren't shopping at Target with a rifle. But yes, I can understand. It's one of those things where, yeah, that'll kill you quickly. So it's a good thing you got over stubbornness. Y'all, she's winning. She's out the rat race. She's just sitting up here watching everybody else go through the maze, and that's exactly where you should be. And I'm hopeful that the kids are your husband's and not somebody else's.
I mean, that's the funny thing about it. I am currently looking at bills that will, demand the 50-50 custody after a breakup and the DNA test after every birth. So I'll take a DNA test regardless. Obviously, my husband is the only one to have eyes for, but again, I'm a stay-at-home wife. Like, I live a wonderful life. It's the least I can do to prove to him that I'm doing exactly what I said I'm already doing. And it's also going to be almost a signal to other women, like, well, why would she do that if she hasn't been unfaithful? Well, how would my, husband know? How would the world know? Like, I'm being a good wife. That, again, should just be an automatic thing. And I have to be the one to, push for it within my own marriage. And I've noticed that the more I talk on these panels, the more I'm actually pushing, I guess, my idea of, it's better for the woman to stay at home because my husband is a very hard worker. Again, I was working 4 jobs. I was losing my mind. And just being able to sit back and take care of the home, it gives us both a peace of mind. So I think it should be an automatic thing. So I have to push for it, in my own life to show other women that it's needed.
A woman cannot be a full-time employee and be a full-time woman.
I agree. Something is going to get missed at some point, and we realize that.
It's going to be the employer. On. It's going to be your femininity. Your femininity is going to be sacrificed. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to give up big chunks of it. Femininity has no place in the workplace. You don't want sexual harassment. Femininity, we want you to do as much labor as possible. Femininity and labor are anathema to each other. Mm-hmm. Femininity is the opposite of labor. Masculine is enhanced by labor. Femininity is diminished by labor, by its definition.
Yeah,
So
I'm acknowledging I'm very lucky I'm in this position, but I'm also a couponer and a thrifter. So when we need extra things for the house, and again, I'm going to be looking at decor soon. Like, I'm not saying we're living just so, high on the horse, living the life of Riley. We definitely are making it work because having me home is just a benefit to both of us. And obviously, I want to homeschool. Like, I went to traditional school. They almost got me into the whole with all of those ideologies and, pretty much the bullying and shaming I went through because I always wanted to be a wife and a mother in that order. And a lot of women, kept trying to tell me, like, you can have a baby. You don't need a man for that. You can do whatever you want. You can work 4 jobs and then be a great mom and do this. And it never made sense because I never saw it work in my personal life. So I had to create a different life for myself. So yes, and, we got a budget. We got a
the
Costco
very
membership.
women that it didn't work for sitting in you all's ears telling you what you need to do.
And they told me I was getting married too young too. There's like, you shouldn't get married in your 20s. Like, you definitely need to focus on other things.
Yeah, you need to focus on a job but here's the problem. The problem is the great fallacy of all that is that you're investing in something that will never invest in you. A man will have you can have intrinsic value to a man. Just value you were born with. You have intrinsic value to that man you're married to. You will never have intrinsic value to a job. You either can work or you cannot. But there is no, well, you know what, Brianne, we just like you to be here, so you're going to stay here because we like you. Your husband lets you sit in that house and not work because he likes you. You have intrinsic value. You will never have an employer who says that. So where are you going to get the highest rate of return? In a place that has intrinsic value and pays for you, or a place where you do not have intrinsic value and you really got to pay for it. The bottom line is the workplace is where society's female failures retreat to. The women who are not fit to be wives, they all have retreated to the workplace.
And then they'll tell other women to do exactly what they're doing. It's almost like a misery loves company, but I'll even put in an extra little caveat in there. These women think they're happy because everyone else tells them they're happy. It's almost an echo chamber. And they tried hard to pull me in, like, no, don't get married at 25. Like, you're way too young for that. Go find yourself, go have fun, go on some dates. And again, it's been just 4 years and I've seen how those women's lives are turning out, and it's not for, their benefit. And I'm so glad I didn't listen because they gave me that. It was almost like a little bird in my ear. Like, what if they're right? What if I am doing this too early? What if I am, going on a path that I'm going to regret? And again, my father was the one that, vetted my husband. My husband actually presented the ring to my dad before we got engaged. So we did everything in the right order. It's just when you're listening to the women around you, you got to look at their outcomes in life. And if you want those same outcomes, and that's ultimately, I think, the talk me and my dad had, me and my mom, and me and my husband, now husband, had before I even got engaged. Like, he said, look at their life. Do you want their life? And my answer was no, I don't want their life. And he was like, okay, then those aren't people you listen to. You listen to people who, at least kind of have the life you want to have down the road. So I spoke to his grandparents a lot who've been married, I think 58 years at this point or something close. I couldn't remember the exact year. I think it's 57, 58 years. So I sat and talked to them, and that was the perspective I needed to feel obviously even more confident in my decision.
Well, it's also helpful to have your father there, especially because men can't run game on other men, as I explained there before. If this fella is right and your father's got his head on correctly, he ain't going to be able to run game on your father. Now, he can charm your mom, but when you sit down with dad, it's like, all right, little nigga, I ain't trying to sleep with you, so let me find out what your intentions are. And that is important because as men, we know what we were doing at 25. We know what we were doing at 27. We know all the nuances. We know all the tricks. There's nothing new under the sun. He's not going to be able to pull nothing on us. So if he's not there, whatever his real intentions are, he's going to have to spill it when he talks to us. Your reason for talking to him, you might have butterflies and emotions. Your dad doesn't have that. As a man, he's going to go into protector and provider mode, and he's going to start sniffing out, am I dealing with a threat? Am I dealing with somebody who's running a game? We can't, as men, we don't survive with deception. We can't afford to look at somebody deceiving us and be okay sitting with a threat. So there's the real advantage that you had, is having your father there. It makes it extremely difficult to run game. A male trying to run game with another male, especially an older one, it's like, dude, I've been there, done that, seen it. Hopefully you all have fathers who actually, they 50 years old, 60 years old, but they've learned something from their 50 or 60 years. Because there's a whole bunch of guys out here, they haven't learned anything. They just gotten old. Been alive 50, 60, 70 years and didn't get a bit of game, didn't learn a damn thing. He's just out here. He's just older. He has no game to give. He has no wisdom to dispense. He can't help anybody. Folks, little young niggas getting over on him. So hopefully if you're not in that situation, you're doing good. So we can tell by the way you speak, the way you present yourself. Ladies, there's a lot you all can learn. If y'all want to know why we tell that youth is good for her to be young. She doesn't have that, Tina Turner voice. She's not sitting up here, she's not sitting up here with the 1,000-yard stare and bags under her eyes. So ladies, take note. There's a reason that men value that.
But I think my husband says I look good without makeup too. He prefers without the makeup. And obviously people have been talking about my head wrap. Like it's a kind of more of a traditional wrap. Like it's just for, to match the shirt and look fully put together because I'm still doing my hair. But that's the other thing people keep saying in the chat. Like my father was there to at least vet my husband. And obviously he had his questions for him. So I think the way they were able to talk, again, I wasn't there at the talk. Like they went to literally the garage to have a man heart-to-heart talk. And I think it's important for me not to be part of that conversation. So me and my mom just sat in the kitchen. She was like, I think I know what this is. And I'm like, I think I do too. So I'll let them have that talk and see what my father says. And I can't remember the exact day, but I think because we had driven a whole state away for my husband to do this, we drove back to the state we were currently living in, and I woke up with a wedding ring on my finger. Like it was just perfect. So yeah, I woke up and I'm like, what is this?
You got other chicks out here been dating and laying up with a dude for 12 to 15 years and still not that. But like I say, presentation matters. Not waiting until you've aged out, it matters. You got this guy at the top of your abilities. You got him in your 20s. There's something to be said. If you had focused on your job and told yourself what those other women did, which is the great fallacy of insecure females who are failures. Well, they can't get a man who will provide for them because they're too much of a disciplinary problem and they're too difficult to be with. So she got to get out here and dig it out the mud on her own. Problem. During her 20s, she's taking her prime years and committing it to a job and then telling herself, I'll come back on the back end in my 30s and then I will go look for a husband. But the problem is that job gonna be there. The men won't. Ironically enough, you think you're gonna come back in the 30s and get the guy that Brienne's competing for? No, she's in her 20s. She's still fresh-faced. She doesn't have a bunch of road miles. If he has a choice between her and you, with your two bastard kids, he's gonna choose her. Or even if she doesn't have any. The point is, if a man has a choice, that job is going to be there. That's the great fallacy. You can always go get another job. What you will not be able to do is go get another husband. Are you just going to be out here in the marketplace throwing elbows at everybody else and hoping for the best?
Throwing elbows.
I'll let you have the last word.
And I also want to, say this. So I was working pretty much the first few years of my marriage. I didn't just stop as soon as I got married. But in January 2022, I got released from my job due to budget cuts because of the sickness. So at one point, they looked at their budget and said, "We got to let a whole department go." And my department was social media management and graphic arts. So of course, that was the easiest thing to cut from their budget. So me and the whole department lost our jobs in January 2022. But also that was the same month we decided to start trying for a family. So it worked out in hindsight. At least that's what both me and my husband say. But I was the one with a college degree and he was the one working a trade job. It almost was mind blowing that, oh my God, I have a degree and that's not even, securing me a job. But his hands and his work ethic and his I think he was at like an 8-year run working in a trade, warehouse roofing, carpentry. Like he had all of that under his belt. His job was more safe than mine was with the degree. So that's another thing women don't realize. Like if it's not in STEM or a trade job, it's not safe.
Yeah, women sit up here and fill out applications and then tell you they got a career. And they don't. If you work for a big corporation, and I've worked for the largest telecommunication companies on this planet, and let me tell you, I remember being at Verizon and they shut down operations in an entire state. Not a little state either. They shut down operations in a whole state.
Mm-hmm.
Other than just simply taking people's, prescriptions and whatnot. But as far as having a presence, other than repairs, all they had was for repairs. But as far as operations, no, I've seen them shut them down in whole states. And now, basically, you got it where they just want to be able to run things from 1 or 2 states. They have a presence for repairs and building. But as far as a presence beyond that, no, no, just bare minimum. So you can sit here and watch 10,000 people get laid off in a week, and that's their goal, is to have as few people working for them as possible. So no, if you got a man who's out here, he's being the workhorse, he's taking care of all that, he's taking care of business, and let you sit back and enjoy your femininity and enjoy your time with your kids, because you'll never get that a second chance at that. You will never get a second chance to be a mom for the first time, but you'll also never get a second chance to raise your children for the first time. You'll never get a second chance to do that. That's a whole lot better way to spend your time, and a whole lot better way to spend your life as a woman. That is time well spent for you. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Definitely. Please do give us a call again. Absolutely do that. Let me see if I can get my man Don. Let me go ahead and turn your camera on, Don. Man, Don P is trying to get his struggle.
Is my camera not? Oh, there we go. There we go.
Trying to get the struggle internet going. Turn off the speaker, Don.
Got it, Jason. Got it.
All right, y'all. Don is messing up tonight. All right, what's on your mind, brother?
Well,
yeah. By the way, Don, y'all remember a few weeks ago was that we heard Don, he was on the phone, and then we heard it go boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh, Don fell down the stairs. I'm glad to see you doing all right, brother.
That wasn't me.
Okay,
that was Rondon. Rondon.
Okay.
It's Don P in San Francisco.
Okay, I thought it was the same one, Don. I'm sorry. There must be another Don. All right, Don. I thought it was the same one out there. All right. Well, I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see you okay. What's on your mind?
Oh, just on the topic, man. It's like, why do men lie? Well, it's kind of the same thing as why people lie. There's something they're trying to get away from. There's something that they don't want to have to deal with the ramifications for. And they actually are at a point in the situation where they don't really care. Because if they did, they wouldn't lie. I've been around the block a couple times and around the world. And that's what it is, man. When men lie, they're either trying to get something or they're trying to get out of something. And that's the basic bottom line. And women do it for the same reasons. I really enjoyed your previous caller. That's a quality woman. See, that's what I'm single. I have no children. My sisters that have nieces have husbands, and their daughters have solid husbands. They jacked us up in the 60s and 70s. I know we got to do a repair job. I ain't trying to make no excuses for our people, but we really do have to do better by one another. And that first starts with honesty. And if you can't be honest to one another, you need to leave it alone. The other thing, when people cheat, it's done. They're not getting something from you that they were getting before. And now they're seeking it from someplace else. And so my whole thing has always been, and to the best of my knowledge, it's only happened to me once. A person cheats, we're done.
I disagree with that. Particularly for women, I think that's more true for women than men. Because for men, for example, it's been my experience, mostly for men, that's a wake-up call. That is a, hey, I'm trying to get your damn attention that there's a problem and you're ignoring it. And this is to make it very clear, you're replaceable. If you think you're my only option, that's not really what it is. So I think for men, generally speaking, it serves a dual purpose. It's what you're saying. Yeah, I'm very unhappy about what's going on. But it's also, hey, this is a kick in the ass wake-up call. That, hey, there's a problem. And I ain't going to just sit back and it's going to be the status quo and everything's going to be everything. Now, I don't know how you going to react to this, but I'm just like, hey, I'm not going to just sit here and take it. It's not going to be like that. So I think where men are concerned more often is a kick in the ass to be a wake-up call. Where women are concerned, because sex requires women to be vulnerable, because this could go left all kinds of ways, she's got a lot more calculations she has to make before she makes that kind of move. If she's in a committed relationship, she knows by cheating, I'm going to lose that. So she's really not going to make that move most of the time. They're not going to make that move unless they feel like they have a prospect. Here's the problem. If you're going by your feelings, you're probably using a very horrible calculus. Because your feelings, if you're with a guy who knows you got a man, your feelings about what y'all doing are probably not the same as his feelings about what y'all doing. So there's the difference. With a man, we know if we don't really fool with this chick for real, she just here to fill in some gaps, we're not making a commitment to her.
Right.
We're not doing that. She's stepping out on you. She's trying to get a new man to make a commitment. And we understand commitments are expensive. Laying up is cheap. Commitments are expensive. So the way you see this layup is not the way he sees it. You see it as the prelude to a commitment. He sees the layup as the prelude to more laying up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, your last caller, and I'll shut up, I'll land my plane here. I just wanted to make this point because I got caught in the trap too. Your last caller made a very, very, very important point. She said she went to school and got her degrees, as did I. Her husband is in a trade. Who has the job? And so when I was driving home, when I was listening to you, I was thinking about that. And I wanted to say that to my young brothers. Find a skill that interests you. Get involved in it and develop your own business, or you will always be subjugated to the hands of the powers that shouldn't be. You know, I had to learn that the hard way, in and out of entrepreneurship, but now I'm just, you know, for the last 10 years, been a straight entrepreneur. I would
make it a little more. I would make it a little easier.
To be an electrician.
I make it a little bit easier and turn the speakers off, Don. I hear myself. I would make it a little bit easier to say start from an early age and learn your purpose. Find your purpose. You need to determine as early in life as possible. Am I gonna lead? Am I gonna follow? Or am I gonna get the hell out the way? You need to figure that out as quickly as you humanly possibly can. Once you've made the decision, if you made the decision you're going to lead, you got to be all in, and you have got to dedicate and focus yourself towards being the absolute best that you can be. That includes all three areas, by the way. If you're going to be a leader, you need to focus your energies on being the best leader you can be. That has to be the foundation of your life. Everything you do, you aim in the lead. Everything. Everything is competitive. You're aiming to lead. If you're going to be a follower, well, be the best follower you can be. Every general needs his lieutenants and his infantrymen. Be the best follower you can be. Be the best. Don't be a slacking off, expendable one. Be the best follower you're going to be. If you're going to be a follower, be the damn Green Berets. Be the Special Forces. If you're going to do that. And if you're going to get the hell out the way, then at least be practicing running so you can get out the way when you need to. But whatever it is, figure out early what your purpose is. Knowing what your purpose is, that's going to determine where you live. That's going to clear up where you live, how you live, what you're going to drive, how you drive, what you're going to wear, how much money you're going to have, disposable, stored wealth. That's going to answer a whole lot of questions when you say, hey, this is who I am. Don, the reason that most males today are broke or average is because they don't know what they want to be. 30, 40, 50 years old and don't know what they want to be when they grow up. And what's dangerous to me is when I turn on YouTube and I hear folks talking about, it's okay if you don't want to know, if you're 37 and don't know what you want to do. What? I can show you a bunch of videos from a bunch of people saying that. It's usually some dude who's got millions of dollars and he's set. Well, that's easy for him to say. When he says that, he's not living under those consequences. You can't afford to be 30 years old and have no idea what you want to do. You're way behind. You're behind the 8 ball, and there will be consequences for that. There'll be consequences. So as a man, you need to know your purpose as quickly as possible. You need to be sure of it as quickly as possible. And then you need to dedicate your energies to be the best you can be at whatever that is as quickly as possible. And from there, everything else falls into place.
Man.
The woman knows where she belongs in the equation because you've already got things straight. The family and friends know where they belong in the equation because you got things straight. Even the government knows where it falls in the equation because you got things straight. But when you don't have your own things straight, it's chaos. I'll let you have the last word.
My thing to my young black males, if you're not ready to hit the ground at 18 running, you're going to find yourself behind because this system, as you already know, is not built for you. Don't think that you're going to get out there and be like Jim and get that job that's going to pay you 6 figures because you went to school and got a degree. That is not how it works in this economy for black males unless you're boule. Your boule, hey, it's somewhat your candy store, but you're restricted to that section. So, I know you're always pushing, self-dependence and making it happen. And I'm with you there 100%, brother. I want to co-sign on that line with you. And I land my plane there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight, Don. We appreciate that. Let me see if I can get Brother Pascal on here. Let's see if I can get Brother Pascal in the room over here. Go ahead and turn your microphone and your camera on. Pascal, did you go to sleep over there? Turn your microphone and your camera on. Wake up. Not going to stay here all night waiting on you, brother. Did you get drunk? Did you get high? Did you overuse the medical marijuana? There he goes. All right, Brother Pascal, what's on your mind? Okay. Pascal, what's on your mind?
Hi, brother. Good evening. This is Pascal from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah,
okay. Turn your speakers off, brother.
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, turn your speakers off, brother.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. I just don't want to hear me.
Can you hear me now, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just don't want to hear me.
Hello?
Okay. Apparently he can't hear us unless he got the speakers on. I don't know what's going on there. Brother Pascal, we got a lot going on here tonight, brother.
Okay. Sorry, brother. Let me adjust my stuff and get back home. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. I thought that was George for a minute there. Okay. We've been on for a little while here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight because we've been on here for a minute. Hey, we've explained to you why they lie. We've explained to you why it happens. We explained to you why it occurs. Just understand what you're dealing with. Now you know what it is. I expect you to respond accordingly. Yeah, I thought that was my man George. I thought that was him. But definitely wanted to chop it up with him here. We'll have him back on some other time. He can call back in. In the meantime, here, I want to thank all of you for joining us here tonight. Hey, we've been on for over 3 hours. All my long-haul truckers, my night shift nurses, my warehouse workers, my self-employed people, my stay-at-home moms. We definitely got you through your day here, at least halfway through your shift. So we're very glad for that, for you listening here live or recorded. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all of your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. This is the spot to do that. So click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time we are here. We're going to have our patron on tomorrow. You get to talk to me one-on-one. 12 noon Central Time. So if you're not members of my patron, you definitely want to go ahead and check that out. We got some catching up to do from last week. We got some housekeeping to do from last week. So definitely, if you're not members of my patron, you want to go ahead and check it out. We got some housekeeping to take care of. So be there, be square. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat. Thank you all very much for doing that. We appreciate that. I appreciate all of you here for weighing in and supporting us here. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.